Cause it is a competition. I walk around with an invisible number on top of my head, just like everybody else in this world. Whether you want to admit it or not.
You know what? Like every week they get better. It doesn't even really matter the topic, man. It's just how can it be whack if everybody's being real?
Because there's a divine order to this. So if you want a woman to submit to you, you need to submit to God.
Polyamory is not based on I want to have sex with more than one person. Like, it's a committed relationship between a particular group of individuals, where it's 3 or 4, but they're not like, we're together, now we're going out, we're doing this. No, we're together. They're a relationship together.
Cause it is a competition. I walk around with an invisible number on top of my head, just like everybody else in this world. Whether you want to admit it or not.
You know what? Like every week they get better. It doesn't even really matter the topic, man. It's just how can it be whack if everybody's being real?
Because there's a divine order to this. So if you want a woman to submit to you, you need to submit to God.
Polyamory is not based on I want to have sex with more than one person. Like, it's a committed relationship between a particular group of individuals, where it's 3 or 4, but they're not like, we're together, now we're going out, we're doing this. No, we're together. They're a relationship together.
Cause it is a competition. I walk around with an invisible number on top of my head, just like everybody else in this world. Whether you want to admit it or not.
You know what? Like every week they get better. It doesn't even really matter the topic, man. It's just how can it be whack if everybody's being real?
Because there's a divine order to this. So if you want a woman to submit to you, you need to submit to God.
Polyamory is not based on I want to have sex with more than one person. Like, it's a committed relationship between a particular group of individuals, where it's 3 or 4, but they're not like, we're together, now we're going out, we're doing this. No, we're together. They're a relationship together.
Cause it is a competition. I walk around with an invisible number on top of my head, just like everybody else in this world. Whether you want to admit it or not.
You know what? Like every week they get better. It doesn't even really matter the topic, man. It's just how can it be whack if everybody's being real?
Because there's a divine order to this. So if you want a woman to submit to you, you need to submit to God.
Polyamory is not based on I want to have sex with more than one person. Like, it's a committed relationship between a particular group of individuals, where it's 3 or 4, but they're not like, we're together, now we're going out, we're doing this.
Hey y'all, Hey, how y'all doing? Gems and jewels. Welcome, everyone. Hi, Jen. Hi, Cannon. Reese from Philly. Oh, man. Reese, I got to send you the link, Reese. So please send me an IG link, Reese, because I do want you up here today. I do not want to put the link in the chat. Welcome, Gems and Jewels. As promised, I got the all men panel today. And I said I was going to let the men respond and give us their take on this conversation we had last week. So, hi, Queen Nita. Hello. Welcome, everyone. Without further ado, I want to bring my boy, Freezy, to the table. Hi, Freezy.
You know what time it is. It's time to get crunk.
Freezy, you came on like, yes.
Man, I had a rough weekend for real.
Man, I know you did. And you know what? I'm praying for you. Just pray for Freezy, y'all. Y'all don't gotta know why. Y'all don't need to know why. Just know
100.
that he is going through something. And so we're gonna pray for him. Hi, Natalie. Hi,
Let's get it.
Rochelle. Hello, everyone. I want the men to join the panel today because we were talking about some controversial stuff, right? Like we were literally saying, do black men hate black women? It was like a lot, you know what I'm saying? We were saying all this crazy stuff. And I think the ladies was kind of like, yeah, y'all do. And Freezy, you was like, that's not true, Freezy, didn't you?
They was kind of like, man. Hey, shout out to the ladies' room, man. For real.
Yeah,
They
shout out to the
represent.
ladies' room. I like appreciated that conversation. It was a really good, powerful conversation. And I wanted to give the men an opportunity to ask the same questions. Hi, chat. Hi, you guys. Thank you guys so much for just supporting me and having my back. Like, I love you guys. So thank you. Hi, everyone, and welcome. It's gonna get spicy. Let me bring up the guest. So, well, hello, the intellectual,
Hey,
Mr. Beston.
what's going on, family? What's going on, family?
How you
What's
doing?
up? What's
You
up?
know, Mr.
What's up?
Beston,
What's
I
going on,
really
Freezy?
want us to talk about if black men hate black women today. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like this
Mm-hmm.
conversation. I want to hear the men's perspective because last week we heard the women, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and so this week we're gonna let the men chime in. Let me bring Jay up. Hey, Jay. He look, he done stepped away. Will you come back on, Jay? Okay, there you go.
What's up? What's up, Queen?
How you doing?
I'm well. I'm at work,
Doing
so I'm
well.
gonna mute myself frequently not to interrupt you guys.
No problem.
So it's time
Hi,
for
E
me to speak,
Black.
right?
Shout out to you, E Black.
I'll be
Thank you
black.
so
What's going
much.
on?
Hey, E Black. Torrance said, Freezy, turn up today. Turn up.
I got you, dog.
Yeah. So we're gonna let the men kind of tell us how they feel today. I really want to hear it. Because I want the women to hear. I want the women to hear how black men truly feel. I want y'all to be honest. Of Reese, if I put this link in the chat, Reese, because I don't know if I think he don't have Instagram. I think that's what he told me. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. So Reese, this. If I post this link, it's just for Reese from Philly. Okay. Do not come up here if you ain't Reese from Philly. Now, if you would like to be on the live today, you can send me a message on Instagram. I am checking my Instagram messages and I will respond, okay? If you would like to be on live today. But yeah, I got to be, got to be careful. He said he gotta buy some headphones. So today, y'all, let me tell y'all what I noticed. I got a gray hair on front of my head. I said, No, the hell I do not have a gray hair. Okay, Reese. So when you get home, let me know. I'll send you the link. Okay. But I cannot believe y'all. I got a gray hair right
I
here. So
can't
I'm
see it.
sharing that with y'all. Okay. This is a deep down secret. And I don't want nobody to know. And I was like, it's right in the front. That's crazy. So now I got to get that spray, you know what I mean? So I can cover it up, y'all. I'm at that age now. Don't- Mr. Vester, don't laugh at me. So let's just kind of like, I put the first question up there for you.
Okay.
It's really like I really just let the ladies kind of answer the big question first, which is, do black men hate black women? So I kind of want you to just, talk to the fellas and y'all have a discussion about that question and what y'all think about it and why do y'all think that perception is out there?
We're gonna talk about everything we talked about last week. How about that, Tawana? Okay. So
Go
we
ahead,
started
Breezy.
out we started out last week. Tawana opened up the question with me first, as everybody knows. And the way I answered the question, which got misconstrued, I distinctly said that no, I don't think that black men hate black women. I don't think black men hate black women as a whole, but I do think that black men hate some certain qualities, or not hate. No, I didn't say hate, because I think I said hate was a strong word. I said I think that black men have a dislike about certain qualities that black women do have. So I was trying to make a distinction. But everybody doesn't feel the same. You fellas on the panel might not feel the same. You might, I'm not saying you do, but you might feel like black men hate black women. I don't know. But I gave my gist in the beginning, and I'm pretty sure, whoever is in the chat that tuned in last week, they know Freezy stance. So this week, like Tawana said, we have a panel more of male representation. And we're going to pose this question first to the intellectual soapbox. Intellectual soapbox, Mr. Best the World 84. Do
Yes,
you
sir.
think that black men hate black women?
Nah, I don't think we hate them, and I don't think they hate us. I just think we just don't like certain tendencies that we both do, right? Like, I think we don't want women to have the thought tendencies, right? We don't want that. We want them to be ladylike. We want them to be motherly. We want them to be wives. You know what I'm saying? In the long haul. You know what I mean? Now, okay, when we at certain stages as a man, I call it from 18 to about 34. You know what I mean? We kind of just having fun a lot of times. We just really animals out. To be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna keep it
Got
a
you, got
G. You know what I mean? But once we hit that about that 35 mark, you know what I mean? Things start to change, and we start to want more from our woman, want more from ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And we know that we do things too that separate them from us, so them doing the hot girl summer, the thought stuff that keep us from really wifing them, right? And then when we do the gangster stuff, the gangster persona, that keeps them away from us. You know what I mean? Because and then also we can wind up doing years in the penitentiary and all types of stuff. So I think that we don't hate women. Nah, we don't hate black women. Just the fact that you know we don't want to deal with that BS. We just don't want to deal with somebody who has a bad attitude. We don't want to deal with somebody who wants to argue all the time. We want peace, man. It's hard enough being out here, being a man, and the world is expected to be on your shoulder from day one. As soon as you turn 18, you're supposed to be a man. You're supposed to have responsibilities. You're supposed to take care of the home. You're supposed to be head of the household. You're supposed to have all those things intact. You know what I mean? And there's no excuses for you. The world don't make no excuses for you. Especially as a black man, there's no excuses for us at all. So, based on that, we want peace when we come home. And if you ain't being that peace when we come home, oh man, we gonna hate that. Trust me. So we don't hate y'all. We just want y'all to be our peace. Be a woman, be in your feminine, be submissive, do your part, and we'll do our part to the full. We'll even put our life on the line for you. You know what I'm saying? If you just act accordingly. So that's what I think.
So basically, are you saying that there's irresponsibilities on both parts, and that's where the misunderstanding comes from.
Almost definitely. Yeah. Yeah, we both have dropped
Okay.
the ball. You know what I mean?
Okay.
We both have stranded away from what grandpa and grandma taught us. You know what I mean? And what mom and daddy taught us. You know what I mean? We both have strayed away. Our auntie and uncle taught us. We both have strayed away. So now it's just a bunch of dysfunction. We can get it back. I think we have an understanding that we need to get it back. I think that's clear. You know what I'm saying? But it's gonna take some time.
Wow.
What do y'all think about Cannon's answer? She said, so that's the generalization of black women.
Uh, what did you say, intellectual? What did she say was the generalization?
I guess she was just saying what I was saying, but no, that's not every black woman. But I'm just saying I'm just speaking to. I mean, come on, let's keep it 100. We know what's going on out here. Like we know it's crazy out here. It's the wild wild west, side, especially if you're single. Like it's crazy. Like a whole bunch of shit going on, right? So good, bad, and different, red, blue, green, whatever you want to take it, all forms, colors, and shapes and sizes. So we know it's crazy out here. So for us to act like we don't know what's going on, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, of course, there's some people who are traditional, right? Still, but that's not everybody. Like, and I think we are kind of clear that that's not everybody. We see that in everything that we do. So yeah, we know what's going on out here.
I want to make a note that when you answer the question, bro, I want everybody in the chat to note that he wasn't putting a lot of the blame on black women. He named a lot of shortcomings black men had and a lot of irresponsibilities that black men had too. And so I just want to make note of that. It's
Definitely.
it's not all on black women. It's not.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we
So
got to lead, though. At the end of the day, we got to lead as men. At the end of the day,
that's what's up,
I mean,
man.
there ain't no excuse about that. Like we gotta make it happen. So yeah.
Hey, Wanda, put the names up, Wanda, so I can address
Only
everybody
every
quickly.
time I have a comment up, you won't know the
Oh, okay.
name.
No, I
But
got it now. You ain't, I just needed to know it. So my boy Jay, you there, Jay? Yo, Jay, can you hear me, Jay?
he's at work, so I think maybe he
Yeah, I'm here.
having
Okay.
some. There you go, Jay.
I'm here. I'm here. I just
Okay.
mute myself because I don't interrupt or have any background noise.
Okay. So Jay,
Go ahead.
the question is, do black men hate black women? Uh intellectual gave his spiel. We want you to give your spiel and your take on the current state of if black men hate black women or not. What do you think?
Um, I think he sums it up in a nutshell, but I'm gonna aim to put it a different way. I feel like one of our major issues amongst each other is miscommunication, right? There's a difference between actually hearing and listening, right? And most of the time within the conversation, they actually lead with the emotions to hear you, but they don't listen, right? Like King stated, as men, we mess up within the same boat, but we cannot act as if that, you know, the feminine is not messing up too. And he depict that um, in a situation where they're out here doing their dirt as well. And times when it comes to speak on it, they don't want to hear it, especially if it's coming from a male perspective.
Okay, so just give a roundabout summary of what you're trying to say then, because I'm trying to follow you, but just sum up what you're trying to say.
Black men does not hate black women. There's a miscommunication amongst each
There you
other.
go. See, I got to lead you to the water, bruh. I
But I
got
mean,
you.
I stated that. I mean, it's a listening barrier, and the lack of listening between both parties causes conflict, and that's just what it is. I mean, the other brother summed up everything where the issues is and so on and so forth. So I don't want to dive into what he actually stated. I agree with him.
Okay, so I don't know. Did both of you guys tune in last week? Did both of y'all did y'all catch the live stream last week?
I caught some of it, but as always, I'm busy like doing a whole bunch of stuff in the background. You know what I mean? So yeah, but I did catch some of it what she was talking about. It was interesting. It was interesting. Like I seen different perspectives. So yeah.
Okay, so
I caught it. I caught it.
the ladies' room brought out a lot of I'm not gonna say the whole ladies' room agreed that black men hate black women. Some disagree. For the most part, the majority did agree that black men hated black women, and they gave interesting point of views on why they felt that way. Uh, I think one of the point of views was the way we treat black women. We're not leaders. We're not leaders in the community. We don't, we put too much blame on black women. And we're going to go into some of those topics on what we put blame on. We're not going to get into it. We got a long show ahead, but you know what? I'm going to stop. You know what? I don't think that Tawana actually answered this question. I know this is a man's panel, but Tawana, you put me on the spot.
Which question?
Do black men hate black women, and actually why? I know you said you do think so, but I don't think you answered it in detail. So we want to know what you feel and why you feel that way. Go ahead, Tawana, shoot.
You know,
Go ahead.
try to stay positive today.
Don't hold back.
You
go
ahead. You know, as a collective, I think that our communities are ruined a lot. I think that there's a lot of black women specifically terrified of, men in the community for a lot of different reasons, right? We're molested we're molested by black men before the age of 18, like some scary amount of times, like 4 out of 5 times. We are dying every 5.5 hours. There's a high rate of mortality, and what they say, what it shows is that women die by gunshot wounds, right? When they're pregnant, more than they have medical issues, right? So like they're being killed while they're pregnant. It's a lot of like violence that I see that's happening as a collective. Not like individuals. Obviously, there's good men out here. There's men who keep us safe. But just when you look at the overall thing of it, I feel like that shows that. Also, it's just some black men, they like to throw preferences out. Like they compare us a lot to other women and other races of women. In a public way. Like they criticize us and say we're not good enough, or we don't measure up, we don't compare, other races of women are better than us. It's so many reasons that I think this.
Wait. You said that black women experience fatality through gunshots while they're pregnant more than health issues?
So what I read was that when a black woman who's pregnant, when they die, that they are more likely to die from being killed. Okay, not even just gunshot, but being killed, than being like having a issue with the pregnancy or with delivery. It's like we're more likely to die from being killed during pregnancy.
Wow, I didn't know that.
There's just some things, like if you look at the rates, right? It's every race of men hurt their women, do these things to their women. Like it's just that the rate that we do it is alarming, right? Because we're so small in the population.
Right.
And just looking at our population size and the amount of violence that happens toward us, it's almost like triple and double other races of men, right? If you just look at the race. and it's scary when you think about how much we're dying, how often we're dying, how much danger we're in, how many women, like 4 out of 5 women are raped before they turn 18. That is, it's scary. It's scary. And so some of the things that's happening at alarming rates make me draw those conclusions about collection. And I do think, like I said, there's individual men who I know are safe, who I know don't do these things, but it's hard to ignore some of the things that happen. See,
Okay.
Freezy, you asked me. I was trying to keep it light, and now Freezy,
We
you gonna
wanted to
ask
know
me to
your
put my
perspective.
stuff on.
We wanted to know, you know. But to be honest with you, you gave out some information I didn't know. I'm open to it, and I think the fellas on the panel are too.
Yeah.
You anybody want to chime in on
Yeah,
that?
Frizzy.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
J-
Jermaine, it's going in and out.
you kind of choppy,
Yeah,
Jermaine.
yeah, you're going in and out, huh?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
So somebody said he thinks that it's a smaller percentage than I think. So we unlock. If you could come up, I would love to hear why you say that, because
Yeah.
I would be open to hearing that. Um, that it's a smaller percentage than I think. Because I've researched a lot, and I've been just thinking about like what is happening as a collective, obviously we know that every individual man doesn't contribute to that, but there are a lot of men who contribute to the violence in our community. They contribute to, the rape at before the age of 18, or sexualizing our young girls. They contribute to some of these things, and these things are national collective things that I think contribute to my mindset, right? Of black men as a collective, right? Like, I think that it's not enough that is overpowering to show how much they love, right? It's not enough efforts to show like the opposite. That's kind
Hey,
of my
Tawana. Hey,
yes,
Tawana. I'm
yes,
not aiming to go back and forth nor take the light off what you're saying. But
yeah, no problem.
are you aware that men is more abused, more sexually raped, more violated than actual females?
Hmm.
So I don't know that for sure, but I don't know. I don't know what your source is. Tell me your
Okay.
source, because I'll tell you my
Um,
source, because I look at kids count, and that's a
you
very
look at
accurate thing. Um,
you can Google the statistics within the black community amongst men, and it will bring up an entire statistic of
I do
men.
believe that men are violated a lot. Um, but I don't want to say this, Jay, but it is by men. It's by other men.
Mm.
You have some
Oh,
point, but it's also hypersexualization. It's also done by females as well.
Yeah, it is, but it's a higher percentage of them raped by men. And I don't want to say that because I know you brought the point up. I've done a lot of research on it. And even when I think about men who are violated by other men, it even further proves that like there's so much self-hate. They don't even like love you, they don't even like each other. You know what I'm saying? So I think that makes me sad. It makes me sad, and
Mm.
it's why I've come to that conclusion, right? It's not, obviously it's not true on an individual level, but how can we change the collective mindset, or how can we improve some of the conditions so that it doesn't look like that? You know what I mean?
May I say something?
Yes, please, Mr. Beston.
go ahead.
Um, I was gonna say that I think that a lot of times it's not the fact that we hate y'all, we don't want to love y'all. A lot of times we don't know how. You know what I'm saying? A
Yes.
lot of times we just trying to figure out ourselves. We're trying to figure out who we are,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to, my generation of 25 and over. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of us grew without our fathers there. So if you don't got a man to teach you how to be a man and how to handle things as a man, you got to learn how to be a man, how to basically be responsible, do that, and then also have a legitimate love life. Like that's very hard to do if you don't have nobody teaching you or giving you those tools. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of times men, especially us as black men, we want to give you our all. We want to do all that, but we just don't know how, man. You know what I mean? And it just comes with us trying to figure out how to love ourselves. You know what I mean? What things work for us, what things we need to put in our environment to be positive. Because if we're growing up in an impoverished neighborhood or the hood or in poverty, that's a lot of negativity around you, right? And if you consistently have negativity around you and you have a negative mindset, a negative environment, a negative ecosystem, then what you're gonna do?
Yeah.
You're gonna breed negativity. You
Right.
know what I mean? It's very hard to breed something positive, so it's gonna spill into your love life easily. You know what I mean? It's not really gonna be a separation, honestly, because it's personal. So yeah, a lot of black men gotta learn how to love themselves so that they could be able to love the black woman. So yeah.
Yeah, here somebody said, and Tristan, I think he said, I think child molestation spiked up, especially with the pandemic. I want to speak to this, Apex, because what I know about child molestation was that in our community specifically, we've been taught to kind of keep things silent, keep things in our home, and not report it. Okay. That mentality have shifted a lot. And a lot of people don't feel that way anymore. A lot of people don't feel like hide this information, keep it private. And so, yes, what looks like a spike is really just a shift in mindset, right? Um, and now, and I don't know if you guys know, but I in Chicago specifically, there was a baby. She was 6 years old. She was on live at her school, right? And a 20-year-old man was making her give him oral sex. This was a baby, a black baby girl. And every time I think about that story, it makes me so sad. Like to the point where I would cry right now. Like it just upsets me to that degree. And when I heard that story, you guys can look it up right now. It is really sad. The teacher saw it and was so distraught, like she quit, right? She doesn't even do it anymore. That it traumatized her to that point, right? Because you know when things are happening, but when you witness it, it's a whole different thing. You know what I mean? And so um when I saw that, because I have a daughter, and so it just broke my heart. And the mother, she was working, and he was the cousin, and he was watching the baby for her, because he was pretty much like able to watch her, because during the pandemic they shut down all of the daycare centers. They shut down everything. You couldn't, you had to get family, or you had to get whoever to watch your children. And so I do agree with Tristan to a certain degree. But I do think that it was in our culture, we kept it private, right? There was a girl in my high school, when she graduated, she had 3 children. 3. She had her first child at 13. And you know how old the dad was? He was 33. She had her first child when she was 13. Her second child when she was 15. And the third one before we graduated. She wasn't even 18 yet. They were all over. So like when I started researching it, I was like, this shit is more common than like we know. It happens so often. And yeah. Yeah, y'all.
I think stories like that,
Yes.
they have no choice but to be heartfelt. Women should be more protected. Women are more vulnerable. I'm going to speak specifically to black women. Black women are more vulnerable in the black community than black men. We all know that. When we hear stories like that, nobody likes to hear stories like that. And in my opinion, men that do these type of crimes, they need to be castrated. That's how I feel. Okay. So I mean, that just goes without saying. Um, do black men hate black women? I mean, okay, the women on different panels bring out interesting points. Actually, they bring out good points. I mean, listen, nobody. One point that I agree with. Nobody's going to, a man has to take the lead on his own. This is true. A man has to take the lead. He has to take the steering wheel and show his force, show his leadership. We understand that. But the next question to the men on the panel, I'm going to go around about, let's say that you do take on the responsibility of leadership. You wake up and say, hey, listen, ain't nobody's going to take control until I take control myself. I need to step up and be a man. Nobody's going to do it. Nobody's going to make me do it. I need to take on a responsibility. So I want to pose a question that once you do wake up, once the black man does wake up and take leadership, do you feel like the black woman is prepared to follow? Because there's this notion that automatically once we assume leadership, it's just natural. The black woman is going to follow naturally. And I want the black men on the panel to speak on that. If you think that's the case, if you think it's just a cookie cutter situation. So first we want to give a shout out. We want to shout out Bob Stewart. Thank you for joining the panel, my brother.
Hello, Rob. Welcome.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Man, I've been struggling something serious trying to get on this thing, but thank you for the invite.
You got on there.
I worked my behind off. I'm like,
I did post the article for you, Torrance. I wanted to post the article because Torrance asked when did it happen. You guys read it, at your own discretion. There's other articles. I tried to, do the one that wasn't as bad. Also, can I say this? Remember Freezy when I had that show and I asked people, should I change my name to Tawana G and Wana G?
Yes.
And you responded. A few people responded and it was like Tawana G. So that was kind of like a long time ago. Mm-hmm. So I really didn't know. Like I was like, should I do it? I don't know. Everybody know me as Wana Chica. You know what I mean? Like I'm Wana Chica, but
I like Tawana G.
The consensus is Tawana G, right? Everybody said you got to change it to Tawana G. So y'all see this after today. It's gonna be Tawana G. I'm branding everything Tawana G. I'm doing everything. So I just want y'all to know that
Tawana G t-shirts coming
y'all
soon.
See the Tawana G, like it kind of fit because I'm a little
because you a G,
a little bit, a little bit, and I'm Tawana, so it's you might as well just add the G. But G, G is my last name, so it kind of fits because that's my last name, etc. So Tawana G, y'all. No more Wana Chica.
No more Wana Chica. Y'all heard it first.
No more Wana Chica. This is crazy. So
and shout out to AJ in the chat. Shout out.
Hey AJ. Hey Don. Hey JB. Hey everybody.
Yeah.
Doctrine.
That's right.
So yeah, I just wanted to explain that because people was like Tawana G, what? But I haven't changed my YouTube yet, y'all, because I wanted y'all to still be able to find me. Because if I just put Tawana G and I ain't explain that, y'all will be like, who is Tawana G? So I wanted to explain it. But I am going to be changing my YouTube. I'm gonna be changing my Instagram. I'm gonna be changing everything. So you stay tuned for that. But I wanted to put it out there, you guys. Thank you. He said, congratulations on your 400 subs. Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you,
I forgot.
Hey,
that's why I'm drinking.
Yes, that's right. You drinking. Thank you, guys. And if you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe today and make me 402 or 403. And then please hit the like button, please. Hey, Tawana, I like the change. Good. Tawana G Mac. Thank you, Tristan. Everybody said, Tawana, you could do like Prince did, change his name. I'm like Diddy. You know how P Diddy changed his name 4 or 5 times. I'm gonna be like Diddy,
No,
I don't
we
know
ain't
what
gonna
I'm gonna
let
do
you do
next
that.
time. Thank you, AJ. So welcome. We on the lock. So he's on here as well. So I wanted him to come too. We on Lock Nation, so he could explain his point. But I know you wanted to get to Freezy. I wanted you to get to Rob and everything. I just wanted to explain the Tawana G, because y'all probably like, who is Tawana? What's Tawana G? Who is that? That's me, y'all. All right.
I don't think I was. I would think. I don't think I call you one anyway. I thought I always call you to one anyway. I don't know, but
Yes. So Torrance, he said he remembered that story. Yes, you remember that. It's from Chicago, and we all remember that because it was like a huge thing, and it really got a lot of attention. So El Doctrine said he likes Tawana G. Better, better. Not that I assume it matters, although I suppose I do. It matters if I like sharing. Jesus, I'm having a crisis. He's so funny. Thank you, El Doctrine. I appreciate it, y'all. Y'all all kind of gave me the Tawana G thumbs up, and so Tawana G is in the making. Thank you guys for joining the panel. I really appreciate this conversation. And I didn't mean to bombard y'all with all of that, but Freezy asked me though. Freezy asked me in his defense. So
yeah, yeah. You asked me. You asked me last week. We got to ask you.
So go ahead, Freezy.
So back to the question. Just to bring you guys back up to speed. We on lock just joined in. How you doing, bro? So
All right.
I posed the question that and I'm not saying that black men. There aren't a lot of black men leaders. I'm not saying that. I'm not on the fence. I'm not on the side of there are no black men leaders. Black men aren't leading. No, hypothetically, I'm just following the trail of a lot of women that we've heard in these spaces. If black men do assume the role, take control, so assume the role of leadership by force, uh, and sit. Well, not I'm not gonna say by force. That sounds too abusive. Insist on assuming the role of leadership. There's this notion that women will naturally follow. Now, I will give my views on that, but before I do, I want the panel to chime in. And I'm going to start with Bob. Bob, if the black man assumes his leadership, insists on assuming his leadership role in the community, do you
Mhm.
think that this is a cookie cutter situation where the black woman will naturally follow the black man? Will we not get any pushback at all if the black woman, if the black man assumes the leadership position?
Well, you will get pushback initially because it's not what they're used to. Anytime there's a change, it's just human nature to resist because we like samenism. We like things that we're comfortable with. We like familiarity. So you'll get some pushback initially, but we have to look at the history of why that is the way that it is. It's not like they just popped up one day and said, I want to lead the household as a black woman. There was years of doctrine, you know, socially, politically, and otherwise that was put into place that caused our relationship situation in our families to be the way that it is.
Mhm.
At some point, I mean, even from the days of slavery, the first thing they did was take the man out of the house. That came rolled over into once slavery was abolished, then that rolled over into social services and things like that, which wasn't created for us. They figured out that it was a way once they made it available to us. The main stipulation was we'll help you out, but your kid's father can't live in the house with you. So that forced our women to become warriors. That forced our women to become fighters, breadwinners, to be the heads of household. So at some point, that position was embraced. So now we would, as men, so at some point, we kind of started to sit back too. A lot of us, not all of us. So we have to kind of claim that back. But I personally have been married to a very headstrong woman for 21 years now. She had her own. She always made her own money. Always had her own things. Never had to ask me for anything. If anything, it was otherwise. But I still run my household. So we've had our battles because, again, it was something opposite of what she was used to. So I believe once we start, but again, we've been together 20, 21 years and it's been stronger than ever right now. So I think if the black man started to reclaim that household, that's the main thing. He's got to get in his mindset. You don't just wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm head of household today. That's something that's got to be earned, just like, trust, love, and other things. You got to earn that. You got to prove yourself. And if that woman sees him being consistent in what he's doing to try to earn that spot and say, you know what, I might make more than him, but you know what, if anything goes down in his house, you got to ask him. We got to run it past him because it's a partnership at the end of the day. He's the head of household, but she's not subordinate to him. Even if she's submissive, she's not subordinate. So I absolutely believe that if the black man got in that position and maintained it with some consistency and did what he was supposed to do, I absolutely think that they will come along.
That's an awesome point you just pointed out. I agree with basically everything you just said. We're going to pose this question to We on Lock. We on Lock. You heard the question. If black men insisted on assuming the role of leadership, do you think naturally the black woman will follow? And this is all that needs to happen.
First, I would like to say thank you, Tawana, for having me on here.
Thank you for coming.
Uh, this is not new to me. Although I am a nervous wreck, this is not new to me at all. I've heard this countless of times over and over again through different panels, through different people, even through different ethnicities. I have no problem, even though we are the leaders and there should be leadership throughout the entire globe when it comes to melanin people. I have no problem with a woman when the man passes on to another life. Your masculinity automatically goes to the woman of your household, and she becomes not only the strength, but the brains between your children and a whole entire community until she marries again. I have no problems with the woman being a lead, but naturally, a woman or a man rather should be ahead of your household. Um, right now, I see nothing but boys. I see nothing but boys just acting lazy, acting incredibly uneducated. Some of them don't want the educated; they just want them something to something that something to just hand it to them easy. Nothing is easy. You have to do the work, especially when you are a young man in a world that does not give a damn about you at all. As a black man in America, they don't care about you at all. The only people who care about you are the ones who put you in the position, education, emotional, and you have to listen. The one thing you have to do as a young black man and a young black woman is you have to listen to your parents. It starts from the home. And not everybody gets I know it's unfortunate that not everybody gets the what I want to call the full spectacle of goodness in the home, because if it because it starts with the head. God is first, then man, then woman. If you do have these things intertwined, it becomes a home wreck. So it all starts with God first. And God, without the knowledge of oneself, you will be eradicated from your home because it starts with your mind. Just like the slave master, who basically wiped out or enslaved not an entire nation, because not all black people, all Africans were slaves,
Mhm.
but there was a majority of people who were enslaved, but they didn't know that they were enslaved. If you're in chains, you're not the slave masters, what I would call pet, and we're not pets. We're not pets. So to your question, and oh, I almost forgot to tell you, the one person who inspired me was Harriet Tubman. The one person that inspired me to become a leader. I have never seen it and I've never heard it until my father told me. My father told me that Harriet Tubman, I was like, is that a man? No, that's a woman. She freed thousands of slaves. Thousands. And she could have freed thousands more, but they did not know mentally that they were slaves. So everybody should take their points. Everybody should basically take their points and follow somebody like a Harriet Tubman, a Martin Luther King, a Malcolm X, a Medgar Evers, a Rosa Parks. We all play a role, all of us.
Can I intervene one time?
Go ahead.
So I don't know if it's the Jack Daniels I'm drinking but did you say you feel like women should be the leaders of the household? Did you say that or?
I said women can be, but
Okay.
originally, normally, the man has to be the head of a
Okay.
household. Like, for example, my wife of 11 years, we've been married for 11 years, we've been together for 18, going on 19.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. It's hard as hell, but hey, um,
Okay.
when I'm not around, she is the head of the household. Okay, and she said what she says goes, and my daughter and my son, they follow. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter who's the breadwinner. She was a breadwinner at one point. I'm the breadwinner. Who cares? It doesn't matter to me. As long as our bills are paid, we're fine. As long as the car bills being paid, bills be paid, we're totally fine with that. But when it comes to danger, I'm here. When it comes to somebody who dares threaten my kids, I'm there. I'm there. And I'm not just a phone call away where people say, well, you're not there all the time. Mentally, I am, because they're psychologically connected to me. My children are psychologically connected to me. And I will know through my spirit, through my knowing, through my know-how, that I know my kids are in danger. And all fathers care for their sons. Just want to throw that out there.
Can
Gotcha.
I ask this, because you guys are getting a lot of backlash, especially for the comment about how welfare took the women out of the home. A
Mhm.
lot of people are disagreeing with you guys completely and saying that that never happened and that wasn't a true thing. I'm not sure who said that, but can we speak to that? Because I disagree as well that welfare took the men out of the home, but I do want to hear why you said that or why you
Can,
think
can,
that.
hey, Juana,
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
think we can get to that right after Jay answers?
Yes, we can get to it later. Yeah.
Okay. No,
But I
no.
just want y'all to respond to it
We
for
we
sure.
can we can tackle that right after Jay does his due diligence, because we got to hear from Jay.
Yes, Jay.
Jay, it's okay. So Jay, when the black man insists his leadership, do you think that the black woman would naturally follow? What do you think?
Um, no, she won't naturally follow. Like King stated earlier, if it's unfamiliar, especially if she's used to doing things on her own. See, the thing that we fail to look at is leaders are made through experience, right? And no one was born as a leader. You're pretty much elevate yourself within that role. Last week when I said the woman lead the man. You laughed me out of the room, but you didn't allow me to explain. See, everything a man does on this planet, right? For instance, the reason why he dresses the way he dressed, the reason why he spend the money he spends is because there's a feminine energy there, right? So in actuality, what a female would do is she would submit to allow the man to lead if she see that he's actually making these changes and he has a promise to actually lead. But if he's not doing what he's supposed to do, she takes the forefront and does what she needs for the family. And sometimes that can actually tarnishes the man mental capacity to understand what it really is or to do what he does. Like King stated earlier, most of us are lazy, but I don't really think it's laziness. I think it's what King stated earlier. When you lack a true father within the household to teach a son how to lead and how to be a gentleman for a queen, right? He will never be a leader for that actual queen. It will be more selfishness than actually togetherness.
So, oh, wait, hold on, wait.
Yeah, I like a lot of what he just said.
No, because it's
Yeah.
Jack Daniels. Jay, come on. Okay, I got a lot of questions for you. So,
Breezy, let me ask you a question. Why do you
I,
go to the barber shop and get your hair taped up? Why
I
do
ain't
you
even
wear
asked you no
cologne?
question yet, bro.
I feel like that's where you're going. I
God
feel like that's where you're
damn.
going.
Okay, listen. This is what I want to ask you. So you're saying that the man really won't be able to assume leadership until the woman allows him to lead. You feel like the woman has to allow the man to lead? That's what you said?
King, all women allow a man to lead. It may
Oh
look
my
like he's
God.
taking. I mean, you may not you may not agree with it, but pay attention around you.
No, it depends
Wherever the
on the situation.
wherever the female is, that's where the man goes, right? Like I said, the reason why your car is clean, the reason why you go to the barber shop, get fresh, the reason why you change your clothes and act a certain way, you don't do it for yourself. At least most of these men don't. They do it for the feminine energy. And that's the prospect I want y'all to look at because it's a fact. That's why a man can go to a strip club and spend 100 racks without hesitation. He don't go there for the men, he go there for the women.
Okay, so let me intervene right quick. Cause I think that me and you have a different perception of a conception of what a leader is. To me, a leader is not led by a woman's persuasion. A leader is not led by pussy. Is not led by a woman's looks. So you're talking about a man that lacks discipline, right?
Absolutely, but
Okay,
90% of
but
the
but
men
but
out
if
here,
a
that's what they
man
do,
lacks
wrong or right.
discipline, listen, by default, this is what I'm trying to tell you, bro. This is what I was trying to tell you last week. By default, if a man lacks discipline, he's not a leader, bro.
King, so let me ask you this. How
He's
many
not a
men
leader
out
if
here?
he lacks discipline. I'm saying, are you listening to me though? Because I don't want you to listen just to respond. I want you to really hear what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying, but
If I'm in the
answer me
strip club,
this.
listen, if I'm in the strip club throwing 20s and Hondas because she got a fat ass, I'm not a leader, bro. I'm not a leader at all. I'm not, So I just wanted to, I'm gonna let you speak, but I just wanted to throw that out there. But go ahead, bro. I'm not gonna interrupt you. I just want to throw that out there. Go ahead.
Let me like King said earlier, if a father is not within the household, right, and leadership was not taught to the son, where does the discipline come from? Who is he reflecting? Who is he mirroring to be this leader, right? If he lacked the understanding to actually lead the woman, who becomes the leader, right? So perfect example, right? I can use myself as a reference. Me and my wife is separated, right? Um, I lead my household. I know how to lead my sons. I have two boys. The father is well needed within the household, right? But I can speak to their mom from now until tomorrow that, listen, I don't want my kids consuming certain things, but she does what she does in her household. You understand what I'm saying? And 95% of the time, certain females will will basically submit for a short period of time to give the man the notion of leadership. We have to look at these things. We see them like we don't see. I understand what you're saying, but the only person you can lead is yourself. Because 99% of the time, a female is going to tell you, don't tell me what to do. And that's where the kickback comes into play. Would you say that she lacked discipline within herself? Why she acts the way she acts?
I
Yes.
I have a question.
But go ahead. Go ahead, we on lock.
I want to question. I want to ask a question to Rob because he
Shout out
looks
to Ill Doctrine. Go ahead.
3 times my senior. How much power do you think a woman has in terms of intelligence and in terms of decency and in terms of mental capacity? How much power do you think a woman yields?
That's I'm not no I don't know if I quite follow you when you say how much power. How would you measure that? What are
And
you measuring that in?
let me rephrase it. When a man is not in the household,
Hmm.
how much power do you think a woman, mentally and physically, how much you think she has?
Well, I don't know if I'm understanding you correctly or not, but I look at my wife as my equal. One of the things that attracted me to her is because I need a woman beside me, not behind me. And that's one of the things that has made this relationship work, because I don't know all the answers. I don't get it right all the time. And if that man falters, is no better thing in the world than to have a woman there that can hold it down until he gets his feet back underneath him and say, okay, babe, now, I'll take the reins again. Now you chill for a minute. I'm gonna take care of you and the fam like I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
I think my wife is just as powerful, if not more powerful than me when you're talking about intellectually.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
Absolutely.
So Tawana brought up subject matter about welfare. So I just want to warn y'all, this about to it's about to get real. Okay. And I
And I'm
think
gonna
I
let the
think
ladies come up and question you guys about that. But
yeah,
there's a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of backlash about the welfare comment. They people feel like that's not a true statement. Welfare did not take black women out of the home. I actually agree with that. I mean, black men out of the home. But let's get into that question because that was one of the questions that I asked.
Yeah.
And I would love to hear you guys talk about that a little bit more.
And I made the comment. I made the comment. And people can say it didn't take the black men out of the home, but I personally supervised the unit of child investigators for over 10 years, worked with probably 15, 20,000 families. And when we went into those, I was the one going into the house saying, we can't find any male shoes under the bed. We can't find his clothes in the closet, because that means daddy or a man, not necessarily father, but a man, because that would affect their hood. It would affect their welfare, their assistance and their aid. And I know that because I did it for 10 years. So everybody can disagree all they want, but I lived that for 10 years. And I had 5 investigators underneath me, and that's exactly what we did. So I know that's a true statement. That
Wow.
mean
That's
that's not
important.
that's not saying why it was initially that wasn't the premise that it was initially when it rolled out. Of course, they're not going to say that, but I know that is an absolute fact because I did it for 10 years.
So the men weren't missing, they were just kind of hiding so that they wouldn't get caught. That's
It
what
was
you're saying.
basically it was basically if there was a meal in the house, that was going to affect the amount of food stamps, the amount of public assistance, whatever it is that you were getting. So essentially, most women would say, no man is living here, in order to maximize what they were getting from the government. And again, I was in those, Section 8 homes and things for years, physically doing that. So I know that to be true.
Yeah, I think the point
Sir,
is not that the men were not in the homes. We know, I mean, the point is that the men were there. They just weren't being documented as being there. The men were there. They were in the home
Hmm.
that they were hiding and or removing their clothes so that they wouldn't be found, but they were in the home. That's the argument. And that is true. The men are there. They're present. There just
I,
couldn't be officially on paperwork because there were, and it wasn't, I mean, it was public housing mostly, but it was mostly because you could have a caseworker that would come, they're looking in the closets, etc., to make sure that
hmm
there's nobody living in the home. But that was mostly with public housing. You couldn't be on the actual Section 8 voucher, right? But
Correct.
that doesn't mean you couldn't be living there
Well,
and with the woman. So you were complicit in welfare. So how is it that that kicked you out the home is the argument?
well, it didn't. It became okay. So if you've got a a female or a male that is say, I'm not going to, I can't be around because you don't know when they're coming. They make unannounced visits. So I'd say 90% of the time he's not there. So essentially, mom becomes the leader, the head of that household. She's got him. She's the one that's keeping the wheels rolling. She's keeping everything going in that household. So that changes the roles of who's running the household and who's not, or who's it affects his ability to interact with his children and teach and love on his family. It changed somewhere along the lines. It is not strictly welfare's fault, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that was part of the catalyst that got us to that point to where the black man was absent from the home. That's not the only thing. That is one of the factors that helped us get to that situation, to make it deteriorated the black family to a certain degree. Because think about it, if
Hold
would
up,
you rather
Bob.
have your family?
There's a
Hmm.
comment by Cannon Hill right here. She says that was boyfriends, not fathers or husbands. What do you say to that?
I'm gonna say this again. I did that for over 10 years, over 10,000 families. That was husbands, that was boyfriends, and when they got married, all of that affected their amount of public assistance.
because
So
they're
a
both
lot of
making
them
money together.
chose not to get. I'm sorry, sir.
Because they're both making money together.
Correct. It changed the household income. So
Right.
a great majority of them chose not to get married just for that specific purpose. And I'm
Gotcha.
telling you what I know, not what I think.
Yeah,
You know what I
can I
mean?
tell you what the purpose of it is for though? The purpose
Hmm.
of it is to support you while you financially are unable to support yourself.
Hmm.
Right? So if you have a husband and his income exceeds the money that you need, then you all should no longer be using it. And then you should no longer be
Right.
dependent on the system.
You're
So
right.
if she felt that she could not depend on her husband, spouse, right?
Hmm.
Like she would rather have Section 8. Well, what does
Hmm.
that say about the man and his position in the home? Because it's not like if you have someone that's able to take care of you financially and you have everything that you need, you don't
Hmm.
need the public assistance anymore. So how is it that it kicked you out of the home? Because really, if you're a man and you can take care of your family, you tell your wife, we don't need this. Like, come on, I can take care of you. We don't need to hide so that I won't have to spend my money
You
to
are
take
Well,
care of you.
100%.
can I
You're
chime? Can I ask you a
hold on,
question, though,
Fred.
Bob?
Hold on, Fred.
Okay,
Let me just say
go
this.
ahead.
She's 100% right. So apparently everybody missed that because I said that. I said somewhere along the lines, the men accepted that role and said, you know what? She got it. I'm just going to sit back and let her take care of things. And it was his fault. It's not a blame. It's not to point blame. It was, I said that at the very beginning, but apparently that was missed.
Yeah,
You were
that's I was
100%
just
right.
wanting I just wanted everybody to answer because
You were
I'd like to
I
ask a
100%
did hear
right.
question.
that.
I
I did
said
hear
that.
that, Rob. Go ahead. Go
Mhm.
ahead, Haran. Thank you. Welcome to
Hey,
the show.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh,
Yeah,
Ron,
Bob.
you showing your picture tonight, right? I see you, boy.
Oh, here you go already, man. Let me
Breezy.
let me get my point
Breezy
out
gonna
first
tell
before
he
you
gonna
come
call
after
you
me,
out
Freezy. All
today.
right, let me get my point out first. All right, we'll do the dance in a minute, okay?
Go ahead, my brother.
Yo, Bob, man. Okay, so Bob, you know, me personally, I mean, I grew up in the '80s and the '90s. You know, what I mean, I'm a kid from, I would say, the old New York, and the scenario that you're presenting, a lot of, what I mean, my partners went through that. There were I knew a good number of us here, what I mean, we were on welfare or whatever, and there were fathers in the home, but there were some questions that I had even at a young age that you're kind of answering right now, and so on and so forth. When there were certain times when he wasn't in the home, and maybe that's when things were being checked and so on and so forth or whatever. But one of the biggest questions that I have to ask you is this. You said that you admitted that the gentleman accepted the situation for what it was, correct? Do you believe that that was a sign of poor leadership, and that element of poor leadership probably sent a series of conditioning down the line, could have contributed to a series of conditioning down the line?
I honestly wouldn't say it was because of poor leadership. I think we were mostly doing what, like, your the latter part of your statement, uh, conditioning. We had been we have been conditioned for so many years uh, to fall into that role, not by our choice. And I don't think it's because we are not leaders. I don't think it's because we lack the ability to lead, or lack the capacity to lead. But I think I agree with the latter part of your statement. I think a lot of it's conditioning, and we kind of just fell into the groove and allowed it to take place. And I'm talking about black men. A lot of us allowed it to take place, but I don't want to make you don't want to overgeneralize and just say us as black men, because of course that does not encompass all black men. But I think a lot of it is conditioning, and a lot of them want to do better and just don't know how, or just don't have the guidance to say, look, if you take this step or that step, you guys could get out of this situation. And they just kind of succumb to the daily brunt of being a black man in America. A lot of them just say, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna I'm gonna just roll with however things go, and so I think it's mainly conditioning, bro.
Uh, okay, so under that, first of all, the first thing I want to say is that we're all guilty of some sense of some kind of poor habit. We're all
Mhm.
guilty of some kind of conditioning that had ill effects on us, whether it's health, whether it's mental health. I mean, no one's above anyone in that regard. What I do want to say is that it is also the responsibility of that individual to break the cycle. Look, I come from a long line of,
Absolutely.
of men who were wild, just wild. What I mean? My background is, most of my family comes from Jamaica. I come from just a very, we wayward bunch of men, and I've made my mistakes in life. I have, what I mean. I am not above any of that, but I will say that I did say that, okay, either I'm gonna go, if I continue to go in this particular direction,
Right.
I'm gonna keep getting the same outcomes.
Right.
I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing that. What do I really want?
Right.
Now, within that, I can say that, all right, by doing that, I think you begin to understand that leadership really does begin with you. Like,
Absolutely.
how do you lead yourself? Like, what are you doing with yourself first? And when you create that aura, when you create that sense of certainty around you, and people feel that, because people feel it, people do feel
Hmm.
it. When they feel that sense of certainty around you, that does attract a certain kind of person, that does attract a certain kind of woman. I do believe that. It'll attract
I
the
agree.
kind of woman it'll also attract the kind of woman you don't want, but that comes from your own personal discernment. You have to make that personal discernment. We've all, as men, we've all been guilty of making the wrong decisions when it's come to when it came to women. I have
Say
been
it
guilty of
again.
such as
Say it
well.
again.
You
Say
know
it
what I
again.
mean? I've been in bed with some women I really ain't had no business being in bed with, but
Mm,
it is what it is. It is
Called
what
life.
it is. You know what I mean? It is
yes,
what it
Lord.
is. You learn as a man. You learn, and you say to yourself, okay, what is it that you want? Because at the end of the day, look, man, as black men,
Exactly.
when you understand and accepted the fact that don't nobody really give a shit about us, and you
Exactly.
accept that
But us.
with a with a cold shot of whiskey, then you are ready to really move forward and do what needs to be done. Because then,
Exactly.
whatever issue
Oh
anybody
yeah,
else got against you, it
oh,
just really rolls off your shoulder. Because like,
oh
oh,
yeah,
you
Jamaica, yeah,
really,
drink whiskey.
oh, here we go, man. Oh, you funny now. Oh, catch
Ria nephew, big man,
yeah.
Ria nephew.
I
So,
think
so
I agree with
I
you
want
100%,
to answer.
bro.
I want y'all to answer El Doctrine's question. If black women using welfare put men out of the household, did black women's high ASF labor force participation rate put black men back in the house?
No,
Because
they're
we
two
have
totally.
we have a high labor force rate, right? Like black women, we're in the labor force at high rates. So he's saying that because now we're working at higher rates, why is it that black men are still not partnering with us? Like what's going on? Why are they still not in the homes? Or
Can I answer
I'm
that?
reading into it,
Because
but
and they're totally unrelated. But I think I'm sorry, the other gentleman I think was getting ready to comment.
yeah. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead,
Go
Um,
Jay.
ahead.
I just want to say like the lack of peace and the way the black woman reflect her anger upon the black men. Most men don't want to be in a house where he has to put his foot through the door and test it to see if it's crazy enough for him to come in. We do strive for peace,
Come
right?
back, Jay.
And
That's what I'm talking
I'm
about.
saying it's very disruptive when I'm speaking to a woman that's in her masculinity when I'm the man and she don't want to be led by me. No matter how I actually maneuver to make my household better. And that's what I was aiming to state to Freezy earlier. Is not that his point doesn't make sense, but that's just what it is. Most of the time they don't want to be led. Right. And that causes an issue because they treat the man like the man is a bitch. And most men don't go for that. Excuse my French.
I know how to get
Yeah.
a woman out of her masculinity, but that's just me.
What'd you say, Lock? What'd you say we on Lock?
I said I know how to get a woman out of her masculinity, but that's just me.
Oh,
Say it again. I didn't hear you.
I
Please,
know
one more
that's
time.
right. That's right. We on
One
Lock
more time for
Nation.
us old folks that's hard of hearing a little bit.
You know.
So
But
so listen, Jay made a good point, man. I don't and Rob, you hit it right on the head. It's two totally different issues. This is a character and attitude issue that a black woman has to accept a man's leadership. Period. Point blank. I mean, that's just how it's got to go. So black women leading black women working more has nothing to do with black men getting being more so in the household. It just doesn't make any sense. No disrespect to ill doctrine. I mean, even statistics show once black women are more career driven,
Mhm.
they're more likely to be more combative and more power struck. I mean, come on. I mean, it just doesn't go together. But I'm gonna let the other guys chime in.
Can I read this comment first?
Okay, go ahead.
Man of Prestige. Thank you. Shout out to Man of Prestige. I appreciate him. Go check out his last show. It was about me against Percy's and Tyrone's because I call men who are not doing instead of Pookie and Ray, I call them Percy's, right? So he did a show. I want y'all to go check it out. But he said, keep up the great work. While there are forces against us as black men that are beyond our control, we must not give up our responsibility to avoid the ultimate vulnerability, and it's fair. I just wanted to read that because that was a great comment. Y'all go ahead, and I know you had a question for the panel.
No, what we're still on ill doctrines. We're still on ill doctrines question.
Yeah, his
So what?
question.
Yeah. So we on lock. What do you think? Do you think that okay? black women, being that they're more involved in the labor force now, does is that a reason why black men should be, we should not, we should have less of an excuse on why we're not in the household? What do you think?
So he's basically saying y'all are proving his point that it
Mm-mm,
wasn't welfare that took y'all out the home, because
mm-mm,
now black women have more
mm-mm,
success and y'all still ain't in y'all homes and
mm-mm.
y'all still ain't marrying them.
Well,
You
let me
understand?
speak. Let me speak to that. Let me speak to
Okay.
that because I can get a chance to answer that too. So the welfare umbrella is a broad spectrum. Okay, we know that women benefited income wise. Also, we can't forget about the benefits of housing. We can't forget about the benefits of housing. So, being that these benefits were more so given to the one to the black woman, it put the power in the woman's hands, right? Okay, so now let's look at power in women's hands. I want y'all. Let me repeat this. Power in the black woman's hands. Just let that marinate, okay? So now, if she was, depending on how she was raised, right? Depending on how she was raised, is she going to willingly relinquish this respect to this man, even though he's like, going back to the question posed to the panel earlier, even though he's insisting his leadership, the government has put the power in her hands in this beneficial housing, beneficial income, right? She what kind of woman does she have to be with all of this benefit and all of this power to still say, hey, you know what, Tyrone, you still my leader, bruh. Okay, I want the men, because listen, we just can't gloss over it.
Okay,
Welfare is
let
a
me
big
just
umbrella.
let me just say something real quick. I might shock everyone right now, but I understand what Spreezy is saying, and I kind of agree with him. Now, here's the thing. I think this is what he. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so here's the thing. A lot of times, we like to romanticize a lot of the relationships of old, of our grandparents and our great grandparents. And they say, oh, everybody stayed together for like, 20 years, 30 years, and so on and so forth. Yeah, but we also have to, look at things from a very human perspective. If your grandmother really had the financial opportunities that you had now as a modern woman, would she have stayed with your grandfather?
There you go.
A lot of times, people are together because they really ain't got no place else to go. I know that's a tough seed to swallow, to really, choke down. But a lot of times people are together because they literally are the best that each other can do. Now I'm gonna give it to you straight even more. As men, we do the same thing. And women have accused us of it, and they are correct in that factor. When as men, when we reach a certain tax bracket, when we acquire a certain amount of power, yes, we do have options. Now that women are being, going to college, and they're experiencing other things, experiencing a lot of financial opportunities that were really more so, in the hands of men generations past. Yeah, they're starting to do some things now where it's just like, wait, I don't really need to listen to you. Or they're saying, I want this particular guy who's making this amount of money, and or he's making more. Is that incorrect? No, not really. I don't think that's necessarily bad because as a person, if you had a particular degree of power, the first thing that we always think about when we, especially if we get a better job, we start thinking about the things we have access to now. Okay, I can get a better house now. I can put my kids in better schools. I have access to things. You know what I mean? And I think that, women are just getting access to things now. This is a time in history where women are getting access to things now, and they're exercising their options. And I think that, in order to remain, as a solid option, men should say like, hey, let me put myself in the pool or be, a better option. That's just it. That's just how I see it.
Women,
Can I read this? Can I read this from Kindle? Because I actually read the ISIS paper in college. I really want to buy the book and read it again. In the ISIS paper, Dr.
Press
Chris
Wilson.
Westland says, we behave like this because of our low self-esteem that comes from our unresolved childhood trauma that has been passed down from slavery through generations. Is his next.
That is a solid
So,
statement.
what do
which
you
is
guys?
essentially
And I know you guys wanted to respond, but I just thought that was a powerful statement because I do remember reading that in the ISIS paper as well. What
that's
do you guys think? Go ahead.
well, that's what I said in a nutshell. That's basically exactly what I just said. This is not a new phenomenon, I'm sorry, don't have the gentleman's name, the brother that just spoke
Haran.
just prior. I'm sorry,
Haran.
Haran, and I agree with you, and it's all about choices, and I think it was his name, ill doctrine, whatever he said. Stop using it as a goddamn excuse.
L doctrine, yeah.
L doctrine. I'm sorry. He's misinterpreting or not understanding what we're saying. I'm not using it as an excuse. That was the fact. That was something that happened. It's not an excuse because at the end of the day, the only thing you can control and do in life is control you. You can't change other people. All you can change is how you react to them and how you allow them to affect you. So it's not an excuse. There is no excuse
No.
because at the end of the day, it's on your shoulders. You know, they say men cry in the dark. We feel sorry for ourselves and all that, but you know what? The next morning we got to get our ass up and go
That's
handle
right.
our business. Period.
That's right.
Fuck what's going on elsewhere. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I was raised on top of a bar. You can ask Freezy. You know, listen. So I mean, at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do, and fuck what else is going on in this whole world. Because number one is in this house, your fam, your people that you have claimed as your family. And when it comes to saying women have that women are making more now, so now stop using welfare as an excuse. We're not living in 1969. We're not living in 1970. Our mentality has changed. Our culture has changed. The division between men and women, not just black, white, and otherwise, the positions have changed. The hierarchy is not the same as it was back then. You can't say, oh, my grandmother would have left my grandfather if she made more money back then, because people went into marriage for different reasons. A lot of marriages now are arrangements or business agreements, and it's a partnership at the very least. On the very lowest level, it's a partnership. So if people did not have the same mentality, you know what, I'm gonna go get a divorce. Back in the day, they stayed regardless of how jacked up it may have been. So you're trying to compare apples to oranges at that point. You can't even say, okay, well, now the women are making more money, why are the men still not in the house? Because that's that man's decision if he gonna either shit or get off the pot.
Sir.
May I
Bottom line.
interject? May I
Mhm.
interject real quick?
Go ahead, Jay.
Question,
Absolutely.
right? Dr. Francis is a beautiful queen, and her thesis
And she
statement
rests
is
in
beautiful,
peace.
right? Yes, but you also got to take into account Shahrazad Ali. What was she stating when she wrote the book, The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman? What does female say about that? Because she has a list of things that woman does that impact the men and cause him grief and bring the relationship awry and create the separation. What do y'all say
I would,
about that?
I would love for Mr. Doctrine, instead of coming on panels and making every excuse in the book to type his little fingers or whatever about this and that and this and the other, why don't you do what was done back in the day and invent programs for black boys, invent programs for black girls? Why don't we invent some type of program or some type of institution in place for our young boys to not only learn and adapt and establish, but be competitive when they grow and they have the knowledge enough of self, not just of self, but a knowledge of the world, and happen to go into a field, or if they're lucky enough to get a trust fund and build their own institutions. Why don't you build a program in place, sir, for our people to survive, our people to
Uh,
live?
there are programs like that, though. I understand that you're saying most likely across the board, because I personally,
No, no, no.
Not everything is together. Not everything is together.
oh no,
Everything is
no, no, no. I'm about to, throw in the caveat in there. You know what I mean? I do
Can I
understand what
read
you're
this
saying.
though? It says allow, permit me to be a leader. We can't afford that mindset. It's a mindset and not reality. It's unrealistic expectation.
I agree.
Let me get this quick point out. Like, there are programs, STEM programs for black boys and black girls out there, to try to definitely prepare them, for life in the, life in the world as engineers and mathematicians and so on and so forth. A lot of these, that's another thing too that I would love to see more black faces involved in, science and things that there's just far too many white faces involved in those,
exactly
crucial
my point.
areas, that, and one of the, I'll give you an example. There was a prototype, and you can look this up. There was a prototype of a car, a self-driving car, and this car, it was doing great for a while. It was, not hitting folks and so on and so forth, until it hit a black person. Well, it didn't have a sense of what black skin was, or a black person
Wow.
was, or how to see them in the dark. No, you can look this up. This
No,
happens.
I'm saying wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I'm just
Yeah,
like
oh no, oh yeah,
amazed by
it
the fact.
happened,
Wow.
and this software, basically didn't take into account that there's other people on the planet other than white folks. But anyway, it happens, but anyway, this is the reason why, I want more of our people in technology.
Oh, that but see, the point of this is when people start to comment and make excuses or want to argue you down, as
Hmm.
like you want to look at them and say, well, what the hell are you doing right now? Uh, you want to, how about this? Why don't we all get together as one, us men, and get a big ass bowl, get a big ass clear or white bowl, right? Put it in the middle of the table, right? And we take out our money like this here. We reach in our wallets and we take our money like this here, and we put it on the table. We put it in the bowl, and we take little ideas and we tear a piece of paper off, right? Tear a little goddamn piece of paper off, right? And we write some ideas like this here, crumple it up, put it in the bowl, and then we shake it up and we shake it up like this here, and then we put our hands in it one by one by one. And then if the idea comes, it's like, how about more engineering jobs? How about welding jobs?
Right,
Carpenter. I'm a
right,
carpenter. How
right,
about hotel? Why don't we build smaller hotels for us? Why don't we build certain institutions for us? More institutions for us.
right,
More we need more male college educators for
right.
us. Why
Yes.
don't we come up with those ideas when we get out the piece of paper and we look at it and say, we can agree or we can disagree. And when we can agree, how much money is this going to cost us? This does not mean anything. This means everything. Once we get this intellect together, then we can put the process of our money into a of account of our choosing. There is a black bank. There is a black bank.
Hmm.
So how much money are we willing to put in that black bank? It's put up or shut up, pretty much.
Can I
Okay.
just say
I'll agree to
amen?
that. I'll
Hey,
agree to
hey, I
that.
respect that. That was very powerful, King, and we do
I'll
need
agree to
this.
that.
And stop and guess what? If you're not an owner, if you're not an owner, you are a consumer. But I want you to be a consumer to buy stuff from your own people to make them rich, to make our people rich, not everybody else. Let's make us rich. Let's get that wealth gap up, and let's transfer that money 8 to 12 times, as Dr. Claude Anderson would put it. Let's put it in our hands 8 to 12 times before it ends up in our wallets.
That's a lengthy topic in itself. But I agree, it's a lengthy topic in itself.
Well, I think go ahead, Tawana. You want to say something?
I wanted you to just. I didn't know if you saw my message.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted you to.
Okay, so it's a consensus. To me it seems like the whole panel, it's a consensus that black men need to insist their leadership.
Yes.
Now, the only person that disagrees is Jay says that black women, the only way we're going to be able to grab hold of leadership is if black women allow us to lead. Now, there was a comment, I forgot who made it. Was it Kendall or Ill Doctrine? I don't know who made it. But they said that, we shouldn't wait for anybody to allow us to lead. But I don't want to, steer off of, I don't want to, caveat to that. I just feel like, even though Jay thinks that black women has to allow us to lead, it's still a consensus amongst the panel that black men should lead. The first you want to say something, Jay? Because I don't want to misinterpret what you were saying, but
Hey, Freezy.
yeah,
Freezy, I did indicate that you gotta like this.
you kind of choppy,
going
bro.
up.
What I'm saying
kinda
is we
choppy.
have to become leaders individually. Hold on. What I'm saying is we have to become leaders individually first. Before you have a woman, you had yourself. You have to master you first, right? So until you find your happiness in your structure, so on and so forth, 9 times out of 10, like I stated, half the reason why we do what we do is because of the feminine, right? A woman is a leader in her own right, because you can't sit down on a bed and tell her how to have a kid, right? So she's a leader in that light. She's a nurturer, right? She provides certain things. She even controls what the black man put in his system as far as food goes. So she controls, in a sense, if you look at it deeper, how long you live, because she's the one that's prepping stuff in the house for you.
Well, I tell my woman what I want to eat. I mean, I just break it down to the simple form.
But, smell like a lie, right. But I ain't gonna say nothing though.
I mean, it's easy. It's easy. It's easy to disagree. Lie, okay. It's easy to disagree, but look at it. It's easy to disagree, but we need to look at it.
Yeah, definitely smell like a lie.
I feel what you're trying to say, but listen. I don't want to get thrown off. I feel what you're trying to say, Jay. But we're gonna revisit that, because I don't agree with you all the way, but I do feel like all the men on the panel agree that the men should take leadership, right? We should take leadership. So there was a topic that we brought up last week, because I want to cover everything that we covered last week, right? So we covered single parent homes last week, right? And a lot of the women disagree with what I was saying. I would basically, that is a big issue. Fatherless homes, I'm going to word it correctly. Fatherless homes in the black community. And that is a very big issue. I think the statistics are the highest in black communities in fatherless homes. And the women last week, and if I'm representing them correctly, they're saying that the problem, the biggest reason why they're fatherless homes is because of irresponsible men having sex with these women and leaving the homes. Am I saying that correctly, Tawana?
I think you're right that was a consensus that they felt that men weren't making responsible decisions and women were not solely to blame for being single mothers.
Okay, so my stance on it was yeah, this is a very severe issue and it needs to be corrected. And I felt like the best way to correct it was for the young women to close their legs, to put it bluntly.
Uh-oh.
Now I got a lot of pushback, and I know just because most of the people on this panel are men, just because you're men, that doesn't mean you're going to agree with me. But I want to get your take on fatherless homes in the black community. Being it's at the high. Oh, I'm going to use Annalicia's quote, at the highest clip,
which is
and
false, but go ahead.
and how can what's the solution? What's the best solution on how to cut down this problem? So I'm going to start with We Unlock.
First of all, I don't believe in that statistic because that could be anybody can write that crap and give it to the fifth estate, and the fifth estate just gives it out to the press and it goes
Same.
national, worldwide. So I don't believe in none of that
Correct.
statistic stuff. All I got to do is just look around my community, and based on what I see based on where I live, I see black men and black women being together with their children, and either their boyfriend or girlfriend on the verge of getting married or they're already married. So it's just like that stupid ass statistic. There are more black men in jail than are in college. No, there are more black men in college than in jail, but you will never know that statistic because of the people that are putting it out there.
Yeah.
We need our own media.
Yeah.
We need our own media, our own newspaper. There was a point we did have our own newspaper, but oh well. So with that being said, no, I don't believe in that at all. I don't believe in the statistics. I don't believe in the census. I don't believe in none of that crap. I believe in what we put together as a people. We are one. We are the ones that are putting it together. We are the ones collectively our community, and we are taking care of our babies. We're taking care of other people's babies. But yes, there are
So
some.
you're saying not only are we taking care of our babies, we're taking care of other people's babies too.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
historically, it's always been that.
And true, there are some
I'm
knuckleheads
looking
out
at Tawana. Ooh, y'all gonna get it.
there are some knuckleheads out there. I'm not going to put it past it. There are some people that need to be retrained, and there's also some people that need their little butts whooped. Some people are afraid to whoop their some people are afraid to whoop their kids. Some people are afraid
Some
to
know you're
actually
Jamaican.
kids. Discipline is first in my household. I am a father first. I am strict, but I am fair. The mother is the exact same way. The mother puts more fuel, adds more fuel to that discipline than I do.
So
Because
We Unlock. Do you feel that the black men in the communities are the reason why we have fatherless homes at an alarming rate is that the black man is leaving the homes at an alarming rate? Do you feel like that?
He don't believe that. Right? We Unlock Nation. You don't
No, I
believe
don't
that
believe
there's
in that.
fatherless homes.
No, I mean, not saying there aren't any fatherless homes, but I don't believe they're just up and leaving the homes. I mean, that's a ridiculous thing of itself. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in the one thing I will say. Okay, due to piss poor education, okay, due to a lack of people and due to a lack of care when you're young and you don't have that father there to teach you. You mean to tell me you don't have an uncle, you don't have a grandfather, you don't have a grandmother, you don't have a grandfather, you don't have a great grandmother, a great great grandmother, you don't have a niece, an older niece, an older nephew, or not older nephew, but a cousin, an older cousin, an elderly cousin. You don't have a neighbor who looks after you. You mean to tell me there's nobody in the community that can give you that solid advice, that can give you the game? You mean to tell me there's nobody in the home? There's nobody in the community that can give you the game? That's nonsense. That's nonsense. I don't believe in
I
that.
was raised in
That-
Jamaica. I was raised in Jamaica, and
Hold on,
that's
Jay.
the
Hold on,
rule.
Jay. I want to hold on 1 minute, Jay. I want to shout out Miss Tammy. Hey, thank you, Miss Tammy, for joining. Men who possess leadership qualities don't need to ask anyone to lead them. They present alone demands you. Their presence alone demands you to follow, regardless of your gender. Thank you, Miss Tammy, for chiming in. Go ahead, Jay.
Thank you,
I
Miss
just
Tammy.
wanted to shout her out.
Go ahead, on Jay.
I was born in Jamaica, and that's automatic. The whole community, they can actually bust your ass, and when your parents find out what you did, then they put it on you, right? Um, so like
Respect,
I
respect.
feel like when I came to America, is a different senses of how they deal with stuff. Like, hey, don't hit your kid, or this, that, and the third. My mom made my teeth click. My mom, the way she put it on me, I avoided certain things. Period. And I feel like that's what's missing. Parents are becoming friends of their children now, so they're not leading your children, and that's causing an issue. Because if you're friends with your child, the child feel like they can look at you eye to eye and they could talk to you or deal with you anyway. I see moms in the club dancing with their daughters.
I want to add something. I must have grown up in Jamaica too, because my neighborhood, you got your ass whooped wherever you fucked up at, and that shit beat you home. And you be like, "Fuck! I hope they ain't told mom and them by the time I get home." But guess what?
Mom
Mom and them
knew.
already knew that shit. They
They
like
already knew.
sitting out the door, Bobby. I'm like, fuck, another
Come
ass.
get this whooping yonder.
Yes, yes, and I agree with what you're saying, but it was like that in America at one time. But our the population is boomed, and we don't have the neighborhoods like we used to have, where everybody knew everybody. You could have you didn't care if your neighbor whooped your kid's ass, because you knew they weren't going to abuse them. You felt comfortable with them because you knew them, you knew their family, you knew their extended family. I knew Fred's dads and uncles, those old cats. Like, I grew up under the old school dudes. They put us on game way back, and my name was Lil Rob around town, because my dad was Robert Senior, so I was Lil Rob. Everybody knew Rob with the walk-in bar and all of that shit. So our neighborhood was like that. We just don't have that same feel of community like that, and it's for multitude of different reasons. But I agree with you on that. And I also did supervised adult investigators for 13 years prior to leaving a year and a half or so ago. And it's funny, a lot of those same children and families that I interacted with early in my career as children, now I was dealing with those same families as adults. So I got to see the results of that poor parenting, that like you're saying, being their friend, and instead of being their parent, now has spilled over into their adulthood. So now mom and dad are elderly and they need assistance, and now those kids aren't there. If I had a nickel for every time I said, I had a case come in and say, this person is going to the hospital, nobody will come pick them up. And then you call the kids and they say, "Oh, I haven't spoken to my dad in 15 years. I haven't spoken to
So
my dad
so
in 10
so
years."
so Bob, so what do you think there's a problem with fatherless households in the Black community, and why is it, and how can we cut that down? What's the solution to it?
Well, it's the man stepping up. It's the individual. I mean, it's a problem everywhere. It's not just Black communities. And like my man is Unlock said earlier, it depends on who did that, who provided those statistics. You can make a study say whatever you want it to say. It's like if you watch, what's that show, Steve Harvey, Family Feud. They say 100 people surveyed said this. Who did you survey? My wife loves to watch that show, and I'm like, the Black family gonna lose because they don't ask us that. We don't we not part of their survey. You know what I mean? Those questions aren't asked by. So we're gonna give answers that are not gonna be on the board. So it just depends on who picked that sample group, who did that survey, who did that study. So I think it's just as prevalent other places, but it's like you say, if you tell a kid he's bad for so long, after a while that kid is going to start being bad because he's now accepted the role that you've been giving him. So if we're seeing study after study after study that's saying that our fathers leave the home, we father children and then disappear. Eventually, that becomes built into us subconsciously as our norm.
People need to
My
stop
man
watching
said, I,
television.
I'm sorry.
People just need to stop watching television.
Or
Oh,
like my man said,
yeah.
make up your own mind. See what's going on, watch what's going on around you, and stop letting someone give you your truth and
Can
go
we
out
If I may
and
interject for a
find it.
can
second,
we address Kendall's response though? He said we never broke the breeder bed buck mentality that was put into us during slavery. We need to understand many of the behaviors that we exhibit today can be directly connected to slavery. And then Torrance actually said that there a lot of fatherless homes never had a father in the home. It's a bunch of casual hookups that created this problem. So why is it that other men recognize that it is an actual problem in our community, but you guys are saying that you don't see that as a
No,
problem?
I would like to state something right now. I grew up in a fatherless home.
Yes.
I grew up in a single parent home. I After a certain period of time, I sought my own lessons and so on and so forth within the community, though, as a
mm,
man, because I knew there was just certain things that, I mean, my mother, God bless her, she was a good woman, so on and so forth. But there was just certain things, just as a man, and certain lessons that I just wasn't going to find in the home. So I had to, go out in the street, and learn whatever I needed to learn. Now, I learned a plethora of things from, I spoke with professionals, criminals, gentlemen, all these things, and so on and so forth. So I have a very round understanding, very broad understanding of just our culture and just human culture, period. But I'm not gonna, and no, I didn't have a plethora of cousins. No, I didn't have a plethora of uncles. A lot of my family was still stuck in Jamaica. I didn't have. My grandfather was dead. Oh, one of my cousins was dead. He was shot when I was around 9. So no, I am one of those people who didn't have that many male resources growing up, but I still found a way to make it work because at the end of the day, I do one thing and I always hold on to it. There's always a solution to a problem if you look long enough and hard enough.
yeah. And I don't. He's saying that we do see it as a problem. I think we all see it as a problem in the black community, but it's just not only the black community. And I think, like my man Unlock was saying earlier, it's not. It's not the. I think statistically, it's been being misrepresented. And again, with my background, it happens in all communities. I've been all socioeconomic levels. There's no, oh, the poor folks walk out on their kids. I was going in $2-3 million homes doing the same thing that I was doing in the projects. So it's not a a thing that's just isolated in the black community. It's on all levels. And like I said, it doesn't discriminate. So
So
I
you're
think
saying it happens with white folks too, right?
oh, absolutely. That's what I'm telling
Yeah.
you. I was going into mansions.
I knew a
You had to
couple of
be
white
buzzed
folks who
in,
didn't have daddies.
taking their kids out. Taking their kids out of home. Like, hey, y'all get yourself together. They'll be back. But they're going into foster care today. So it doesn't. It's not just us. But like my man said, if you're in control with the media, you control the narrative. You determine what you hear, and especially our kids now live on their tablets, live on their phones, live on the internet. The majority of what they live, we ran around the neighborhood and met our neighbors. We knew everybody. Oh, I did. I knew for sure. I was out there. So and Freezy can attest to that. So but kids don't do that anymore. So they learn the majority of what they know about the world via the internet now. Of course, that's a general statement. That's not every child in every home, but that's a general statement. But I agree with what my man said earlier. Is who's controlling the narrative? You have to get out and 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 get out in the world and make your own decisions. Do your own. Like everywhere I go, I'm doing a study. I'm watching people. I'm sitting back and seeing how they interact with each other. And I can almost tell you their life story after just by watching that family interact for a little while. and you can kind of
Unless
tell.
Can I just say one thing real quick? I got to run, gentlemen. This was awesome. You know what I mean? Thanks for having me. Wanna
Thank you,
crazy.
Ron.
You know what I mean? Catch up with you. All right, y'all be easy, man.
all right.
All right.
For sure. So the sentiment is that the sentiment from the women is that black men need to be more responsible with their genitals. This is the reason why single parent homes, fatherless homes are running rampant. If we teach the what we need to do as black men is teach younger black men on how to keep their DICK in their pants. Then these young women won't be you know per se victimized as young mothers, single mothers. We are the main problem. This is the sentiment coming from most of the women I've seen in these spaces. Now, I'm willing to go out on a limb and say, hey, we are the leaders. I understand what the women are saying. We are the leaders in the community. A lot of the onus should be put on us. I wanted to say that because I wanted the women to understand. I understand you. But I want the men to speak to this sentiment because in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I do feel like women control sex. I feel like women control sex. And if women deny us of the sex, there won't be any, uh premarital babies in the first place. But I might be wrong. So I'm gonna let the gentleman, I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna go out on a limb and let Jay answer this first. Jay, what you feel?
Can you do me a favor and repeat it? I didn't hear it because the thing keeps going in and out. Can you repeat that question for me?
Okay, so what I was saying was that what is the most effective solution to eliminating premarital babies, young mothers raising kids prematurely, single parent homes, fatherless homes? How do we get a hold on this, and what's the best solution? I gave my solution, but some people disagree. Other women, that we know how other women are. You were present in on the panel last week, so you know how the women feel. That men should take the lead on this. We should teach the young black men on how to keep their DICK in their pants. This is how the women feel. I feel, I'm not going to go into how I feel because I don't want to persuade you guys' answer. Not that I can, because I'm talking to a bunch of strong men up here. But Jay, I want to know how you feel, and just let us know how you feel, going forward, and we'll get to the rest of the men on the panel. Go ahead.
Um, it starts with accountability from both sides, right? Um, I've watched men, I've watched I've watched females hyper sexualize kids. Um, do
It's
as
it's
Or
going
parents.
in and out.
You're absolutely right. Um, I don't know if y'all can hear me. I feel like we need to take accountability together, basically, because in our communities we hypersexualize our children, right? And we laugh about these things. Like, I'm on IG seeing a kid slapping his mom's butt, putting his face and so on and so forth in it, and it's being laughed at. We need to stop that. And yes, as men, we do need to control our sexuality, and we need to learn more about ourselves, basically, so we don't just jump out of a limb and impregnate somebody's daughter and so on and so forth. So we need to control our households as far as that goes. And it takes two. It don't take just the men, because women are also laying down just like the men and having sex just like the men. So it takes two, not one.
How do you feel, we on lock?
every man is not only responsibility for their daughters, but they're more responsible for their sons because the boys are more in danger, in my opinion, because it only takes one mistake for a woman to get pregnant by a boy. And I'm talking about a boy. I'm not talking about a man. I'm talking about a boy. My job is to educate my son to not only keep in control of himself, but to watch the things around him that will have complete access to have him I forgot what the word was. Basically, if it comes to television, if it comes to a video game, if it comes to certain programs that he shouldn't be watching, if it comes to the internet, those things got to be shut off because it only takes one. It only takes one. It only takes one program or maybe a boy or something from my daughter to get all routed up and excited because girls do get excited. They get overly excited at young ages. But it takes both parents to sit both of their sons and their daughters down and say, this is what you're not going to be doing. And if I find out about it, then we're going to have another discussion. And this time I won't be talking. That's what's being missed. That's what's being missed. Control, self-control. How much control, how much time are you spending? And I'm not talking to anybody on this panel because we all grown. I'm talking about the people out there who need that type of assistance. How much time are you spending with your children when it comes to impregnating a girl at a young age, at age 16? That a girl who sees their mother tricking and she wants to be a prostitute. Where I live, there ain't nothing but prostitutes out there. And I wanted to build a program myself to get those people who are prostituting themselves off of the streets into a program and into a job of their choosing. A job of their choosing, because ain't nothing else going to come out of this except for two things: jail or morgue. Jail or morgue. And that's mostly for the women. The sons, HIV, syphilis, gonorrhea, all this other stuff that's going around, and they don't know about it until it's too late. It's not just the pregnancy. It's not just the simple fact that, oh, she can get pregnant, but she can also lose the child. She can also lose the child. But let's just say the child is born. There ain't nothing but one program that will take that child out of the home because you're unfit. You are unsuitable to take care of that child. And you may never see that child again unless there's civilized visits. So the moral to all this is, how much time, because there's only nothing but time, how much time are you spending at home with your children about the realities of this world? And how much TV watching are you doing? How much TV watching are you doing?
Wow, you know what? I never heard. Listen, I think you made history tonight, because I've never heard that perspective being pushed on this subject matter. It's always a man versus woman war fight, but you kind of actually, broaden the spectrum with being responsible and being more responsible with the children as far as negative media outlets and negative environmental influences. I don't hear a lot of people speaking on that, and that's a very interesting perspective that you brought out. Go ahead, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
Sir,
Go ahead.
it's
I
a
just had to
simple,
intervene.
sir. And like Rob, he's 3 times senior than I am. It's a simple equation.
You keep
It's
saying
that's
that, bro. How old you think I am? Damn, maybe I need to change shave or something.
but
It's just a great beard, bro. That's
I
all.
said that because I was taught to respect people who are older than me.
You going downhill, bro. I just we gonna just stop it right there. But go ahead, my brother.
But how
Go
much
ahead.
time are you spending with your children at home when it comes to this technology called the enters of net? Are you telling them, okay, are you sitting down with them? It's like, what program are you watching? And is this suitable? Is this suitable for you at a young age? Are you listening to the Cardi B's of the world? Are you listening to the Nicki Minaj's of the world? Are you listening to the Trey Songs of the world? Maybe you shouldn't be
Preach,
listening to stuff
preach.
like that. Maybe you shouldn't be listening to stuff like that. Maybe you should be listening to more like I don't know, say Kurt Franklin or something like that. Maybe you should be listening to more Kurt Franklin's or Doobie Powers or something like that. Maybe you need to get your spirit up. Maybe you need to pray on your face more. Maybe you need to pray with your hands, pray with your feet, or pray on your knees. What I meant, pray on your knees, or hell, pray standing up. Pray for strength. Pray for encouragement. Because I'm telling you, and I'm telling you this because I know. I've known people in my family who have been in certain situations, and all we can do is cry for them. But the men in the families, they are ready. They are ready, and they prepared me to be ready and to stay ready. Because
Did you did,
what's out there right now is getting worse and is going to get worser. So I just say to y'all, just keep your kids prepared for the real world and what's out there because it's not going to stop.
May I
and
add
that
to
was a
that?
very different perspective. To want it looked like you wanted to say something, but okay, so Bob, we're gonna pass it to you, man. We're gonna pass it to you. What do you think the solution is, as far as like premarital babies, these young girls getting pregnant? What do you think the solution is to help eliminate this problem?
I, I think we have to really your greatest opponent. If you ever want to see your greatest opponent, just look in the mirror. And we have to refocus. I think we have to refocus and get back on the same page and the right page and the same page together. Otherwise, we'll never be.
Okay, I don't mean to
I'm sorry,
interrupt, but first of all, doctrine. I said Kurt Franklin for a reason, sir.
dude. Don't even. I think he was hired to as an antagonist or something. I'm sure he's hired. He's got to be because he's
I
like
apologize.
he's living in left field. He stays
Right.
out in left
Your
field.
doctrine
You
lit.
know,
He lit this week.
but on low because they said when a wise man and a fool argue for so long, people forget which one is the wise man and which one is the fool because they both sound alike. Um, so he made me lose my train of thought. But see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. But things like we have to. I think what we have to do is figure out that we're not each other's enemy. That we're brothers and sisters. We're husbands and wives. And things that we have to. It starts out with respect and figuring out that if you don't give respect, you're not going to get respect. And even if that person takes it for so long, is going to come to a head, and then you're going to have a blow up, and then you're going to have discord and all these other things that have been destroying our families for years.
Well,
And
the
to kind of,
points the points that was brought out was black men should teach the black men should teach the young black boys to keep their DICK in their pants. Also, young women should close their legs. They should, close off access to the sex.
but
And we on lock also gave a different perspective of being more responsible with the kids on what they're exposed to as far as negative influences environmentally and media wise or whatnot. So, go ahead and expound on that, Bob.
well, I agree with that because I mean, like my youngest is 18, and every other day is some other chick coming to pick him up, take him here, take him there, whatever the case may be. But he's very respectful, and he actually revels in his virginity because he's like, you know what? I watched all these other relationships, and he was like, Dad, I got friends, we hang out, we do whatever, but teenage relationships never last. The kid is I find myself a lot of times trying to be more like him because I'm like, damn, this little dude got it. You know what I'm saying? He's got it squared away. Played basketball, played
Well, that's
football.
because of you. That's
Well,
because of you.
and I don't even want to take credit for it because I know I'm a fool.
Oh,
I know I have been a fool.
I'm trying to
So
give you some
Don't
credit.
don't let
I appreciate, but I'm
Tawana
just
try
being
to set
truthful.
you up, dog.
But
Go
I'm being
ahead,
truthful.
Bob.
I'm just being truthful about it because I know all of the ignorance and foolishness I did, back in the day. Since I'm 3 times on Locke's senior here, but
Nah, that's
I
real
know
talk.
all of the foolishness, and I'm like when I look at him, I can just think about him and start crying because I'm like, damn, that kid is all right, But that was a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of say, you know what, they might say a whole lot about me, but they're not going to be able to truthfully say that I wasn't there and I didn't try to do everything within my power to make sure that this kid was going to grow up and be all right and be a respectful man to women and other people. My mom used to tell me, said, baby, I love you, but I want other people to love you too. And we have to regain that respect and realize that we're all on the same team. You never see winning teams fighting on the sideline. If you see a team fighting on the sideline, you can rest assured that's the losing team. You never seen a Super Bowl team, the winners slapping each other's helmets and fighting and arguing and cussing out the coach on the sideline. Those are the ones that are losing. And I think that's where we've kind of lost sight of the fact that respect is not only supposed to be given, but it's got to be earned. And to kind of try to tie it back into what we were initially talking about, black men don't hate black women. I think we've all been conditioned to dislike ourselves, dislike our skin color and everything about us. And we need to refocus and say, hey, go out and make up your own mind. Let's give these folks a chance. Give these black women a chance. Give these black men a chance. Then it's up to that person. It's up to that individual to screw it up or do the right thing. But
Well,
absolutely stay close to your kids because all of us are up in age or whatever. But it's got to start with the babies. It's got to start with our children in order to break that cycle.
if that was a great perspective. I think all the men gave great answers. Uh, if I may, I'm going to expound on my answer. Uh, if I was talking to a bunch of young black girls, this is what I would tell them. Men gauge how a woman respects herself by trying to see if he can sleep with her. Right? Okay. So if she rejects or denies this charming approach, the man will usually see her as more of a challenge and more valuable in a certain type of way. This is just how I see it. So the reason why I said that, shout out to Cannon Hill. Shout out to Cannon Hill. She's very adamant about she's saying that women want to have sex just like men do. That's what she's saying. She's saying, listen, we want to have sex just like you guys do, which I get it. But she was trying to also say that if we want to cut this problem down, men are the leaders, and we need to talk to the men at home, the young boys at home, or in our communities. We need to tell them to keep their DICK in their pants. But I subscribe that this is why I gave I painted a picture that if I was talking to a lot of young black women, I'm telling them how the game go. See, I'm trying to keep it real. How the game go. You understand what I'm saying? Men gauge how women respect herself by trying to see if he can sleep with her. Listen, maybe I'm speaking for myself, but if she turns me down, she's presenting herself as more of a challenge, and actually, more valuable to me.
Sir,
go ahead, Jay. I knew you. Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
I didn't say anything. That wasn't me.
that was
But
me.
Oh, my bad. My bad. My bad, Jay. Go ahead.
Honestly, I respect that, and you're correct. And that is a truth, right? But what would you guys do? You guys believe that the more we keep from our children, the more curious they are, and the more they're indulging in certain things that they're not supposed to, because we don't give them the truth, and the fact that we actually don't teach them about their anatomy, right? And we fail to take charge within our community to teach our feminine and masculine um, reflections. We're giving them to the same people that actually kill us, right? Ridicule us, poison us with the food, and program us daily. We're putting our kids in the hands of individuals that don't give no shits about us. Their aim is to beat us, right? But behind closed door, they plot to keep us down and stop us from elevating. Like King stated earlier, the men, as soon as he step outside, he's in danger. You get what I'm saying? And I'm gonna leave it at that.
That's the more lovely thing about educating our kids. That's the lovely thing about it, because once they're a certain age and they start to get curious about stuff, who do you think they come to? The first person they come to is me, and then they come to their mother. But they come to me because I can be the fun one. I can be very lovable, but I'm also very disciplined in that area. Okay. As far as being in danger, I don't worry about that because I know I was trained by the best. And I do what I can on my end to train my sons and my daughters because number one, they're in martial arts. Number two, at some point in time, I'm gonna have to teach my daughter how to use a actual pistol. Number three, and also teach her the responsibilities. First of all, if you're not responsible for yourself, you can't be responsible for what I teach you. Number three, you have to be responsible for it's a lot that goes to it, but um maybe, and I kind of lost focus. Maybe Rob could testify, can uh, to detract from to this. Do
Go
you
ahead.
believe?
Go ahead, Bob. You want to add to it?
Yeah.
I don't think he was done with his thought. I'm sorry.
No. Because I was going to ask you because I lost train of thought. Um, do you believe that apparently our kids are your kids are grown up, right?
Mm-hmm.
If there was a younger one, say like it's because it starts off 12, maybe 14. When say my youngest son is 12, or I'm sorry, it's 7, and my daughter's 10. If my 7-year-old is curious about something, what will stop him from, if I tell him depending upon the situation, what's going to stop maybe a 7-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old to do what he or she sees anyway?
Well, it's like you answered this question earlier yourself. You be the main influence in their lives. You be the closest thing to them. Because like I have 4 boys ranging from hell, I don't even know what 32 to 18, and they all started shooting. We started taking them all to the gun range at maybe 8 years old or so.
Mm,
And so I've always had a house full of guns. Never once have had any concerns about them going and picking up that gun and saying, shooting their friend in the head because they didn't know what they were curious about it. The thing with us as people, as any people, black, white, or otherwise, we have to be our teachers we have to teach our children. We can't, my dad used to say, if what I don't teach you, the street sure will. So we have to, you said it earlier yourself about spending that time with your children, teaching your children how to interact with others and to deal with certain situations. And I saw the guy, I think it was ill something, ill doctrine, said earlier something about taking your kids out in the mountains and all of that. My sons went fishing, hunting, gun range, golfing, golf range, you name it, we did it. Tennis, we tried everything. And I can't play tennis worth the damn, but they were out there with rackets because I was going to expose them to everything that everybody else was being exposed to. When I say everybody else, the things that are typically black kids don't do.
mhm.
But I was going to make sure that they were uh, well-rounded in every aspect that I could. And again, like you said earlier, you be the teacher for your kids. You be that inspiration. You be that person that say, you know what? I want to know about when I'm changing the oil on my cars. He's out there with me. If he's not touching the wrench, he's out there watching. And I'm like, listen, you scoot underneath this motherfucker with me so you can see where the oil drain plug is. So in the event that you have to do it, you will know how to do it. You won't have to call somebody and say, how do I do this thing? How do I do that thing? He won't have to go to the internet to figure that out because you know what? Daddy already showed me that. If he wants to get into some detailed uh, information about it, he may want to Google that or whatever. That's something that he didn't catch during that little lesson that I was trying to give him. And
Yeah.
again, I'm not saying that I have it all right, but I'm doing my damnedest because I know what my dad did with me, and he wasn't perfect, but he did the same thing. When you expose them to things and you train them how to think about whatever it is that they're engaging in, whether it be relationships or sex or whatever the case may be, when you train them in that thing, you said it earlier also that you're the one that they come to. You can't ask for any better than that because you can say, no, son, you don't treat women like that. And the way that they see me interact with their mother, I went to the damn fair today. I was tired as hell. Didn't want to go to no fair. But she was like, let's just do something. So I'm like, you know what? Let's go to the fair and walk around. We went out there for a couple of hours just to doing something. Say, son, you never realize just the slightest interaction with your kid, what they'll pick up. I said, Jack, we're going, his name is Jackson. I'm like, Jack, we're going to, me and your mom going out to the fair. He don't want to be bothered with us. He just went 2 or 3 nights ago with his friends, with his girl and his little homies and whatnot. But the fact that he sees how I'm treating his mom. And you said, I think it was Fred that said, Freezy, I'm sorry, Master Freezy said earlier that about the women and how they present themselves. My wife always says, you teach people how to treat you. And I've never been the guy, that would like walk in the club and like, let me see how many numbers I can get tonight. I just never been that dude. But what I was a sniper. I wasn't a shotgun shooter. She and I actually met in the club. But when she walked in the door, I immediately said, She had no business in here. She was totally uncomfortable. She was coming to meet some of her friends that had had a death in the family earlier, so they all went to the club that night. Didn't know her from Adam. And when she walked in the door, I said, "You know what? I'm talking to that girl that night tonight." And that's never been me, but I could tell she wasn't comfortable. The bartenders didn't know her name. You know, every dude walking in wasn't smacking on the ass or calling her by her first name and all of that. So immediately, like Fred said, she became interesting to me. I'm like, okay, there's something different about her. So that in and of itself said, I got to handle her differently. Because I mean, I've been around the block a few times, but I'm like, you know what? It's something different about this one right here. Let me move a little, get a little closer and learn more about her. Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask Tawana and Freezy a question, or
Yeah.
I rather wanted to see if this makes any sense. When it comes to relation relationships, my daughter's going to be older, and wanted to see if it makes any sense to you. I teach my daughter, number one, a man has to show chivalry because chivalry is not dead. If he does not show chivalry, if he does not, if you sit there and you have dinner or whatever, and he goes, well, I mean, you look kind of fly. I mean, I look kind of fly myself. If he makes it all about him, end it. If he does not open car doors for you, if he does not bring you flowers, roses, whatever, if he wants to have sex on the first date, if he wants to, well, let's say, trick you into going some places that you don't want to go to, end it. End it right there. But if he opens a door for you, if he says, you look lovely, you look very lovely tonight, right? You look beautiful, you look wonderful. Do you believe in God? Uh, do you, what is your educational background like, right? Is that weird? Because nowadays it's considered weird if I come up to you as a man, not as a boy, as a man, right? And I hand you some roses and say, you look very lovely. That's considered in today's geographic weird. I want to bring all that back. I want to bring all that way back to a respectable place. Do you think I'm wrong in that, Tawana? Do you think I'm wrong for doing that?
Here's the thing, the teenagers, they nothing like, you know how we looked at our parents and thought what you do is super lame, and what I think is, that's how the teenagers look at us. So my son, he probably doesn't, he thinks that so many things I do is lame. Like nobody do that anymore. I think I said something like jam, that was my jam the other day. He was like, Ma, that's an old school like word. Like so for them, certain traditions have been lost, right? And there's a reason why. And so I know we on Lock Nation, you don't agree with some of the statistics and the census and all of that, but there is a lot of people, a lot of Black people who experience not having parents in their home, or not having a father figure, or not having, someone to teach you how to vet, someone to teach you how to pick men, someone to teach you how to make these types of decisions. And on the same side, there's a lot of boys not being taught that chivalry is still something that they should do, right? Because, like, as a woman, right, like me, I I can't teach my son that, or I don't even think about teaching my son that. I know some women do, right? But because I'm married, like, my husband can show him that side, right? But I haven't myself as a woman thought about, like, I should teach my son about chivalry, so I do think it's important sometimes to have that balance in the home. because you're able to teach that to your daughter, and her expectations of men will be higher than another girl, right? That she may have lower expectations. Like, that's what you're supposed to instill in your daughter. And I think you're right in saying, let's bring some of these expectations back, because women need to learn that they should be treated in certain ways, and expect, like, and those things are important. But if you lack a father in your home, you're not learning what chivalry is, and you're not learning what you need to expect out of relationships. And so I disagree with you guys, in the sense, I disagree with some of the things that were said as far as men being present in the home, because I do agree that, I mean, I can just recall my circle. I can just recall my family and people who know their fathers and people who don't know their fathers. Like, I could just think about like my family right now, and I could just think about my friends right now who don't know their dads. Like, several of them just don't know their dads. Was not raised with any men in the home. Lots of examples, right? Um, Even if I just discount all the statistics. So for
So
for
there's
my
no
for my
programs.
girlfriend, she never learned boundaries with men. She never learned standards. She never learned expectations. She never had any chivalry expectations from men. She never had none of those expectations. And as an adult, she's trying to learn those things, right?
May I go? May I
Yeah.
go?
Well, Freezy next, because we on
Let,
like
let,
we
let,
Oh,
let
I'm
her
said.
sorry.
finish though, Jay. Let
He
Twan
asked
finish.
he
I'm sorry.
asked
Go
both.
ahead. I'm sorry.
No
I'm sorry.
problem. He asked me and Freezy, and so I do want Freezy to answer that question. After that, I do want us to kind of wrap up and give our final thoughts and stuff too. But yes, so I do agree. Um, with you that I think I love this idea of bringing chivalry back, and I actually have an episode about creating culture that I want to bring back, because I think that's something that we should bring back into the culture, right? Like, this whole idea of chivalry and giving your daughters expectations. I don't think it's lame, but I'm also older. My kids think I'm lame, so therefore I don't think it's lame, but it'll be interesting to bring some young folks on, and see how they feel about it. I think that a lot of them have changed their ideas about what they expect out of a relationship. It's like all this inclusivity and all this gender neutrality and all these other things that's being pushed in the world. So it's difficult for people to have standards now, like the same like we did back then. So Freezy, what you think?
I think that was an excellent question. We on lock. Um, who are the young girls who are supposed to be these young black girls role models? I mean, chivalry. Let's just put it out there. Chivalry is weird to these young girls. It's weird, bro. It is. Who is supposed to be these young black girls role models? Who, I mean, realistically today, who are they? It's, we talked about um the thirst traps, OnlyFans, the Nicki Minaj's, Cardi B's, right? They're not promoting they're not promoting that men should, display acts of chivalry. They're promoting getting the bag and getting how you live and all of that kind of stuff. And these young girls are following these women's footsteps. So yeah, chivalry is weird. It is weird. So this is why I promote that. This is why I promote. Yeah, black men can be examples, can try to be lead. I mean, we're supposed to be leaders, but I subscribe that the most effective way to get to young black women are older black women who have class. I, I can't teach. I can't teach this shit to young black girls. You understand what I'm saying? I can't.
Yeah.
I, Go ahead. To when you want to chime in on that?
No, I was agreeing with you. I was
Okay.
listening. Go ahead. Mhm.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that was an excellent question. Chivalry is weird. I mean, I could try. Sometimes I mean, listen, I have this is true story. Countless occasions I've been in convenience stores. I try to rush to open doors for women, and they tell me all the time that you don't have. I got it. I got it. They tell me that all the time. Okay, so what I'm saying is that you know that's a big problem. You know, masculinity and femininity is kind of is being it's a confusion. It's a confusion going on. But Jay, I don't want to take too much time.
Yeah,
And
Jay.
Tawana, listen, I know you want to kind of wrap it up, but we won't get on you don't want to get on interracial marriage, do you? You don't want to get on that. You want to just
I
save that?
think we should save that for another day because that's a whole entire topic, and I really wanted to wrap up in a minute.
I got you.
Because yeah, look, it's almost 3 hours, but today I can't go for 10 hours like I
I got
normally
you.
do.
Listen, say no more.
Let
Say
me
no
say
more.
what Kendall exactly says. He is her first example. The right father example will his daughter to have love for herself and keep her from a lot of trial and error mistakes. I agree with that completely. Go ahead, Jay. I know you were trying to chime in to what we were saying.
Yeah, we're all 100% correct, and Freezy has the right intentions. You have the right intentions. I feel like what we do, we lack unity because we fail to understand that as a man, you are masculine and feminine, right? So your mother is the first reflection of the woman that you desire in the world. So if your mom shows you what to expect from a woman, you will uphold that and have a sense of moral ethics towards certain women, just like your father pretty much is vice versa. He teaches the daughter what to expect and how to respect a man, so on and so forth. So we have to have unity and accountability in that sense. Get what I'm saying? And the thing is, I can say this. I wanted to speak on the father not being in the house. My mom had six of us. My rest of my siblings know their dads. I don't know my father, but you know what I did? I took accountability and I go to the community. I spoke to the married individuals because they were perfect example on how to be a man, right? So I see these things and I ask these questions and they give these answers. And I never went to anyone younger than me because I know that they wouldn't pretty much teach me the right things I needed to elevate and reflect within the society. So as an individual, we have to master ourselves and take accountability too. We can't just put it on our parents. And I close with that.
I agree. I
I
agree.
agree.
I mean, it's so many books. Barack Obama, he said he read a book. He read books on fatherhood. Like he didn't have his dad in the home. He didn't really know how to be a dad. And so he read books. Now there's books, there's YouTube videos, there's all these things. You don't have to like not be a great father just because you didn't have a father in the home. Or even the vice versa with motherhood. Like you can learn how to parent differently than what you've been taught, especially if you had a lot of trauma and all that in your childhood. So it's too many resources for us to still be talking about. We don't know how to do stuff. Like it's kind of like at this point in this life, we can't still be blaming the white man for our downfall, like black women or black men. We literally have to say like we have too many resources that are doing this. Hey, if we decide to do all this stuff and then we still get beat down, then we can come back because now we got a voice. Now we can be like, look, we tried this, and y'all shut this down. But if we don't try, and I think Kendall had posted something about Malcolm X, and I really wanted to highlight his comment because he said essentially, oh, here it is. Malcolm X said, the worst thing that the white race has done to the black man is to fill the black man mind with self-doubt. And I can replace man with woman. Like if we begin to self-doubt and believe that we can't accomplish stuff, and we just never we ain't gonna even try. Like I just feel like we won't even try. Um and I want
I
everybody.
think there's a sense of fear too, though, Tawana.
Yeah, fear. It's fear. I understand. Listen. I understand it's fear. I appreciate everybody. So next week, I want to bring the men and the women back together. Yeah. And I want
I'm gonna
the
get
women.
y'all.
I just want the women to comment on some of y'all talking points, and I want y'all to comment on some of their talking points, but I want to keep it a small panel. Rob, don't shut it down. Look, Rob, don't shut it down. He was like, nah, I ain't coming
No,
back.
I was just
I
joking.
ain't
I was
coming
just
back with
joking.
these
I
women.
would be feel privileged to be and honored to be invited back. Seriously,
Yes,
I was
I would
just
love for
joking.
you to come back, Rob. We on Lock Nation. I want you to come back. Jermaine and Freezy, of course, both of y'all. Y'all know how I feel
Hey,
about y'all.
Tawana,
So
I ain't gotta put my foot through the door, right? I ain't gotta test
no,
the
you
waters first before I come in.
I will invite you, and then I'll have a few ladies, and I want to talk about some of the talking points that we have. I think that we really just need to come together, figure out this welfare thing, this single motherhood thing. And I actually, for the next show, I want to get into the feminist movement and how it contributed
Mm-mm.
to stuff. And then let's talk about what we're gonna do to change it. Like we on Lock Nation said he gonna bring chivalry back. He gonna teach his daughter, he's gonna
I
treat his
would have been
babies.
that.
I think you should teach your son too, but you should teach your
Absolutely.
babies chivalry. And I think that's a good thing. But I do I want to hear y'all final thoughts on this topic. Because the women kind of agreed that they're that they didn't think that black men loved black women. And a lot of things that y'all shared really represented love, right? It really represented a need to a desire to want better for our community, a desire to be better men, a desire. So I know we don't often speak to the collective, but the collective, the example is not represented in masses. And so we want that representation to show everything that you guys represented today. And I think that's what black women want to see on a national level, on a global level. I know it's just issues that's happening all over, but I want to talk about your final thoughts on this topic. Anything you want to say, but if you have a channel, I know you do, We Unlock Nation, talk about your channel as well. And we can go in whatever order, Freezy, whatever order you want people to go in, Freezy. You can
Well,
go
you called
ahead.
it out. I think
Let's
we on lock. Started out. We on lock. Final thoughts, man.
We on Lock Nation, as I'm a simple YouTuber that talks about any and everything, community based. I was a hothead in that hard crowd, but I'm learning through each and every day, life, how to mask my energy and not run out with the hotheads. Because at the end of the day, we still, to these people out here, we are a threat. And the one thing about um, white supremacy is
Mm.
that the only thing that can ever threaten white supremacy outright is a black man. So you come out with all the statistics, fatherless homes, um, diseases, um, welfare, all these different things. What they particularly like on TV, or they like uh, love and hip hop, all these different TV shows. Some of them are educational, some are not. But the fact of the matter is, your education starts with the home. Then it starts with the school that you choose to put your kids in. Then when you come back, you do some things within your community, little things like go to a neighbor's house and help the grandmother take the trash out. You should they other people see you doing that. It's like, how are you doing it? And later on they remember you. They remember you. That's how it all contributes. Bottom line, we are all we have in this world, men and women. Richard Pryor said it best that if you want justice, that's what you find, just us. We are all we have in this world. So let's take advantage or let's perish together.
All right. Hey, that was a great point, man. Great.
Thank you.
Jay, we're gonna hand it to you, bro. Give us a big one.
Um, you guys can actually follow me on Mental Rolodex. That means balance. I'm working on changing the channel over to more empowering and motivating feminine energy in our women's basically. Um, at the end of the day, like King said, we have to turn to self. We have to work on us before we can work on anybody else. We aim to actually fix everybody else except for ourselves. And that's problematic. And we got to stop that. Right. And like you said, if there's somebody that requires help, help them. It doesn't make you a simp. You know, and chivalry is not dead, but Freezy said it's weird, and he's correct. We have to take accountability for the disparity within our neighborhoods. And every day we wake up is a new opportunity to make the changes. And at some point, we got to kill the actual the old notion of keep repeating the same cycles, keep going back and forth between each other. Because black women, you guys are beautiful, you guys are powerful, and you have to take accountability for that as well. Likewise for the black men. And I'll leave with that.
That was an awesome point, man. Jay, boy. Jay, I apologize. You was on boy, you on point. You sharp, boy. You on point, boy.
Appreciate.
Okay. Rob, I know you're gonna give us some jewels. Lead us to the promised land, my brother.
Man, I don't even know why you saved me for last like that. You kind of like feel like I'm on the spot. Only thing I can say is that black men don't hate black women, and I don't think black women hate black men. I think we hate the behaviors that each of the genders are displaying, and that's what we need to work on. If you're not in control of anything else, you got to be in control of yourself. And it's something that I've learned over my years of not doing the right thing all the time. Freezy, you know a lot of my past, and we just have to come together, man, and realize that we're all beautiful, man, and we need to treat each other as such. You see a beautiful flower in the garden, you don't go stomp on it or rip it out and toss it away. You cultivate it, or you take a picture of it and send it to your friends and say, man, I saw this beautiful flower, I saw this beautiful this or that, and start treating each other as such. And like my man on lock said, man, it's got to start with our children. Any change in the society, any change in the culture has to start with the young ones, with the youngest generations out there, because they're going to do what they've been taught. Like I said, most of the comments I made tonight were, things that my mother and my father taught me growing up, and that's what we have to do and stop. We're not placing blame on television, and we're not placing blame on, the white man and all this other stuff. All those things are contributing factors to the way we behave or the way we treat each other today. So we just got to take control of that, take that control back. I have 4 boys, all raised in this house. None of them had kids out of wedlock. None of them are been in jail. All of them have post high school educations, so it can be done. And I did all I could, but I'm not. I didn't write the book on fatherhood either. You know, so none of them beat their girlfriends. None of them, are in domestic violence situations or whatever. So we have to take control of what we can control. We pray to God all the time, give us the strength to change the things we can and the wisdom to accept the things that we cannot. These are things that we can control. It just has to be uh, it has to be accepted by us as a majority in order for it to change our culture. That's what determines your culture. And this has been become part of our culture, is these fatherless homes.
That was awesome, bro.
That's
Listen,
true.
listen. Everybody in the chat, put a one in the chat if y'all think the men on the panel treated Tawana like a queen this week. See how they tried to crucify me last week, y'all? See how the men do? Huh? See how
That's
we
why
treated
black
Tawana?
men hate black women. No, just kidding.
No, I'm just playing. But this was a great panel. This was a great panel. Tawana, you're awesome as always. Um, Tawana put the pressure on me this week. She said, Freezy, listen, you got to take the lead this week. This is a men's panel. I need you to take the lead. I said, don't worry about it. I got you, dog.
You did good, Reason.
So listen, man. Shout out to Jay. I'm trying to remember everybody that was on the panel. Jay, we on lock, intellectual Mr. Best, my boy Bob.
Haran.
Oh yeah, exactly. Haran, you know what it is, man. Hey, check it out, man. Shout out to all the kings that showed up tonight. And Tawana, you got to have the last word. We gotta let you say something. Go ahead. Lead us to the promised land.
So Tawana G. Y'all don't forget that. Tawana G. I changed the name. I just want to thank the men for being so open and candid. It's a reason why I did not interrupt you guys, because I really wanted to have an honest discussion, and I wanted women to hear exactly how men thought about these issues, because that's important. I think we got a good grasp on what men think, what women think about these particular issues, and then we're going to come together and see if this have convinced people and changed their mind and made them think differently about how Black men show love to us, etc. Right? Because it seems like you guys are consistent. You think Black men do love Black women. And so that was, to me, something eye-opening, because you had the women who had different opinions. So we'll talk about that next week, and I'll see y'all. Thank y'all so much. So, I'll be back. I'll be better than ever.
Remember, Tawana G, not Wanna
Tawana
Chicken.
G. Tawana G. I'll be changing all of my branding so that y'all will see it. But now
Hey,
my channel is
if you
Tawana
haven't
G.
liked the video, like it and
Like
subscribe.
the video,
Okay.
please, and comment afterward. Tell us what
Yeah.
you think. If I didn't get to comment, thank you, Miss
Exactly.
Tammy. All right, you guys. See you guys next week. Okay.
See ya.